Alrighty, and we're on. So I'm here with Tully Brown. Say
Hello,
good day. So how I met Tully. So one of my mates actually trains at VT1. So
Okay.
Shout out to Dexter. So he's trained at VT1 for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And so going back years, I was training Kung Fu at the time. And he started this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu journey. And it was interesting because, we would roll as he would slowly progress through the ranks in Jiu-Jitsu.
Yep.
And one of the interesting things was because I basically didn't have any formal grappling training, so to speak.
Yep.
And we would roll. And then it was probably around, I remember there was a point around he was in his blue belt where I was like, oh, I'm starting to get into a little bit of trouble here. Right? And so that was when I was like, oh, I probably need to rethink things. And I think that when that coincided with I think it was my Bucks party.
Okay.
And what happened was for my Bucks party, what the guys had organised was we went to one of the MMA gyms in Penrith, and basically, they put everybody through a bit of a ringer. We did rolls together. We did, cage fights together, basically. And, king of the mat. And I think at the end of my roll with him, he caught me in like a triangle or something like that.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, shit, I really need to go back and rethink some things.
Yep.
But that's, so shout out to Dexter.
I've rolled with Dexter. He took it very easy on me. Very easy. I was like, I know you're just relaxing. He's like, no, we're having fun. I was like, I know you could kill me right now.
That's his style.
Yeah.
He's like lazy man's jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. But like just that, he's got that essence of it. He's like, I could definitely just get you in anything because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Still learning jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
So it was fun. Fun.
Cool. Well, let's sort of pull it back because before we started, we were talking about family, right?
Yeah.
And you'd mentioned you got quite a large family. You got what was it, 5 sisters?
5 sisters and 2 brothers.
5 sisters and 2 brothers.
Yeah.
And so your parents, you mentioned your parents split up, was it?
Yeah, they split when I was younger. And then my mum met my stepdad.
Yep.
When I was around 2. So
Okay.
I've just been with him my whole life, pretty much.
Wow. Okay. So did you ever get to meet your dad? Have you ever met your dad?
Yeah, I saw him every second weekend. We'd have like school holidays with him, and so it was definitely present.
Yep.
But I've just been living with my mum.
Yep.
The most, yeah.
Okay. And so then from I guess your original parents, so your biological parents, I should say. So there was you, and then how many?
I've got an older sister.
Yep.
And then the rest are all, I guess you would call them half brothers and sisters,
Yep.
but they're all still family.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah. Well, you're living with them, so
yeah, day in, day out. So I have an older sister, and then the rest are all just younger.
Yep.
And then I'm the second oldest.
Second oldest. And I guess for you, how does that feel, in the family where you're like this, I guess, you're the oldest male.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I am. It's not having an older brother. It's kind of every day's a new day, understanding how to be an older brother. But I take a lot of inspiration from my stepdad.
Yep.
Who I just call dad anyway.
Yep.
He's just been such an important role model in my life. So
yep.
To just try and be like him is the best I can do to try to be. But try not to be a dad for the brothers. It's kind of
yep.
I'm like
you got to respect your role, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to learn both those.
Yep.
Because my family goes away a lot, so when I'm at home, I've got to like look after the house and look after the kids. And even though one of them's like 18 and one 14, you still got to
make sure they're
be
okay.
present. Yeah.
Yeah. So where do they go?
My parents just go on holidays. Just like they've been locked down like everyone else. So like whenever they get the chance, they just like to go away.
Yeah. Okay.
Europe, America.
Yep.
We just all went to Bali for a few weeks, so it was fun.
So then for you growing up in that blended family situation, did you ever feel like, was there any times where you felt like, whether you didn't quite fit in, or was all your parents managed it really, really well?
That's a good question. I don't think I've ever thought, I don't fit in anywhere.
Yep.
I always just enjoyed being around my siblings, and every second weekend I'd see my other siblings, and it would just be, I think, just day in, day out. I wouldn't
normal, right?
I wouldn't really think about my place in it all. I still don't really at all. I just doing myself every day.
Yep.
Don't really think about that too much,
Yep. And then I guess from a parenting style perspective, because you got two dads that you can reflect on, and you don't have to specify which dad, I guess, but was there things that you learnt that were positive things, and then things that you learnt that weren't as positive, or things that you should avoid from either or both of them?
I guess when I was growing up, I wouldn't understand the adult side of things. So just punishment wise, you'd be like, why am I getting like hammered here? And then up there's pretty relaxed. But then up there, I went up to see my real dad. Like we would just hang out and do a lot. And I remember just feeling a bit bored a lot. And then at home, you'd sort of do stuff, but you'd be around your friends. So you had a bit more freedom.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I think growing up, I see much more what it actually was. Like understanding that like they're adults trying to like raise children.
Yeah.
Can't always do stuff. Can't always be a perfect parent.
Yeah.
Can't be a perfect person. So
yeah.
No, growing up now, I see both sides of it, and I don't really have any like ill thoughts about it all.
Yeah. No, that's good. You know, I always talk about how when you become a parent, no one gives you this handbook to go and say, how do you be a good parent, right? A lot of people still haven't worked through their own issues. Yeah. And now they've got this other body or person that you've got to think about, you know, how do you nurture this thing or cultivate them to be the best that they can be? And if you haven't even got that worked out in your own life, like how do you then set that example? It's not easy.
Yeah. Well, right? Growing up, I always thought, well, I wouldn't, first of all, break up with my partner because I love them so much. I wouldn't want to like break up a family like this. And I don't know exactly what happened with my mum and dad, and I don't really care. Like that's in the past. It's not going to do anything now. I just always was growing up thinking I wouldn't do that. I would love to be present for my children as much as possible, even trying to provide for them at the same time. I can imagine that's hard for most people. Yeah. But yeah, that's all. I always grew up thinking like, oh fuck, I don't want to do that. Yep. I don't know if I can swear, but
no, of course you can. This is the Wild West. You know, when we podcast, we can say anything we like.
Yeah, I just thought I don't want to do that, and I'll try to be as good as father as I can. And then having both role models, it's both fathers as role models. It's you get to see two different parenting types, and most people don't. Most people just got one parent. Yep. And I've got four. Four to draw from. Yeah. And
then what about from the mother's side, right? Like I guess. You know, obviously you'd probably be closer to your biological mum than your stepmum.
Yeah, everyone calls me mama's boy.
Yeah.
And I'm the golden child, which the other family members don't like. But I haven't drawn much and thought about much from my stepmom. Yep. She was just always there, always present and always happy. But just, I never really thought about it that much. I always modelled who I want as a life partner after my mum. So I feel like some people do that, and not in a creepy way.
Yeah,
but like
it's interesting.
What
right?
you want in a woman is like nurturing and loving and doing anything for you, for you and the kids. And I've definitely found that in my partner now. And it's weird to think about how similar they are. Yeah, when you
but like I think a lot of people neglect that. Like I think if you have a mother who you love, it's almost like a great testament to. You know, your mum is a character that you want to have somebody that is similar to that. You know, you're not asking for a mother, you're asking for a partner. But the qualities that they have,
qualities. That's it.
You obviously recognise that they're important qualities that might be good to have, you know, a family with or raise children with, right? Like
definitely, just like that's why I'm saying it's so weird seeing it in my partner, and then my mum was like the exact same. Like, will do anything for you, anything for the family, and just goes out of her way to. Not even care about her own self-interest, just everyone else's. And it's sort of heartbreaking sometimes when you see it. And like my younger brother's just a bit of a nightmare at the moment. He's 14 and just
playing up,
constantly doing the wrong thing. Doesn't understand consequences, doesn't care. And you just see my mum just heartbroken, not sure what to do. She always says like, "Oh, what have I done? Like,
why does it end up like this?
How did I do it? How did I get this one so wrong? Yeah, and the other ones are sort of surviving, like the rest of us. Yeah, and I'm like, I can't imagine it's your fault, but I've never been a parent, so.
Yeah, I always think it's like, it's the bell curve, right? So, you know, there's 20% that will always be successful no matter what. You know, they could have the worst upbringing, the worst family situation, and they're still going to make it. Yep. And then the other 20%, you know, we always use that as an excuse and always be looking to blame something to go and say, oh, this is why, you know, I'm not successful or I'm not this or I'm jealous or I'm this and all that. Yep. And then the middle part of the bell curve is the people that, you know, are influenced by the people around them. You know, if they establish good friends, good family, good life partners, like these are the things that help them to become successful. And likewise, you know, if they don't, and they get in with the wrong crowds and they get into the drugs and all that sort of stuff, you know, the partying, and then it's very easy to then they could have gone either way. Right, but then they end up more on that side as a result of it, right?
Just the luck of the draw, isn't it?
Luck of the draw. But I think, you know, over time, people then, like, they get to this point where you have to reflect. You know, I often think about how, so one of the things that I always like to think about is that when we grow up, we're always surrounded by people, right? So, you know, when we're young, it's our parents. And then as we get older, it becomes our friends. So we replace, you know, our parents with our friends, and we hang out with our friends a lot more. And then as we continue on, it might be our partner that we spend the most amount of time with.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that if you've never really spent any time, you know, just reflecting on yourself.
By yourself, yeah.
What happens if you actually hate yourself, right? And there's heaps of people out there that are like that, right?
Not good, especially if they stop to think about it.
Yeah.
And then they go,
right?
oh shit.
Yeah, and that's
not good.
Yeah, and that's a reason why then people look for these other things to then compensate. You know, whether it's out partying and drugs and all these things, is because you want to avoid facing yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And it's only when you get to that point where if you've either moved out and you're living by yourself that you have to spend like these extended periods of time by yourself that you got to go, you know what, like I actually don't like spending any time with myself.
Yeah.
Right. Or you got to go, or you actually go, okay, you know, I actually need to become somebody that I enjoy being around with because I'm with myself 100% of the time. I can mask it by having all these other people around.
Yeah.
But
and people they do that. They go out constantly.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm quite the opposite of that.
You're a homebody, are you?
No, just only because to sort of achieve the goals that I want to achieve, you can't be going out all the time. You got to pick your battles and choose to hopefully go out after a fight or after a big
it's sacrifice.
Yeah, but I love my alone time.
Yeah.
I feel like I work so much and train so much. When I get like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to myself, it's like bliss. I'm just sitting there, I'll just play my iPad for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Wait for my girlfriend to come up home, and
it
would just be, I'll just sit there and just relax. It's I don't understand how people don't like it. Like the silence, like if it's just quiet, I'm like, oh, I just fall asleep. Sort of not dreading, but my head coach Dylan Reznikov just had a kid. And he's talking nonstop about it and how sleep patterns all through the roof, and I'm sure you understand as well.
I've got 3.
So I've always wanted to be a father myself, having the split family, and I always wanted to prove myself as that was always my first job that I wanted to do. Like, what do you want to be when you're older? It's like a father. And so thinking about the sleep pattern getting wrecked now, I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Wait a few more years. I think.
It's one of those things. Like I think, you know, in my 20s, I was much the same where I would like be chasing these goals, right? And so I had a specific goal that I wanted to achieve. So I was working in the automotive industry, and I worked like tirelessly. You know, yes, I had relationships, and I was in and out of a few relationships till I got to the point where I'm like, you know, I wasn't. I got to that point where I was like, I don't like who I am, right? Because I've heard a string of people, but why? Like, is there something wrong with them? But I think reality was that there's something more wrong with me. I didn't really know what I wanted, right? So I need to actually have that alone time. And so then when you're alone, you focus on, I focused on training. I focused on all the things that I enjoyed. Yeah. So training, work, and basically, you know, a bit of gaming. And
that's right.
And went hammer and tong. And then I got to this goal. Like, so I wanted to be a dealer principal of a car dealership. That was my goal. And I got there probably about 4 years before I expected to do it. Like I was thinking that I'd get there maybe when I was 32, and I got there when I was 28.
Oh, shit, nice.
And like the problem was that I realized that it didn't actually change my life one bit.
Yep. I feel that when I win fights.
Yeah.
Like
right?
you big up the goal.
Yep.
You achieve the goal, and then it early on it was like, oh, nothing changes. Like the fight matters, and then it doesn't, and then move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So I imagine if you big up a goal so much, and you think, well,
you build it up.
You rely on it for maybe to change you.
That's
I've always found that I've just like as soon as I finish my fights, I go home. And I just eat dinner. And I'm like, okay,
move on to the next one.
It's done. Like, what are you gonna? I'm not different. I'm amateur Australian champion. I know it doesn't mean much, but it's just showing off your hard work, just like your goal would be. But how did that make you feel as soon as you achieved it?
Yeah, like I got there and I was like, is this it? You know, I thought this was honestly going to change my life. Right. And when we set these goals when we're younger, we think that these goals are actually going to change our life. And then I think that's just a step in the journey, right? Like, no, so let me go back one step and say, I'm really fortunate that I had an opportunity to achieve my goals. You know, there's a lot of people that set goals but never actually achieve them. Right. So for me, you know, I'm grateful, first of all, that I had this opportunity to achieve a goal. But then, I think part of the learning is once you've set a big goal like that and you've achieved it, you actually realize that, hey, the goal wasn't actually the important thing in the first place.
It was the hard work.
It was the journey to get there. Right?
Yeah, and it's very cliche, but
it is.
I found through going back to what you were saying before, just when you didn't like to spend alone time together with yourself. Sorry, I found that like through hard training, problems that you bigged up yourself just sort of just dissipated.
Yep.
And like suffering constantly into the gym.
Yep.
You just like really focused on what's really important. So my problems were just overthinking a lot.
Yep.
Just going out and partying and not really focusing on the goal. And then when I made a switch, mostly when I met Sam, my girlfriend.
Yep.
When we got together, like on our first date, we were speaking about what we both wanted, and it was quite a different first date because we just went to the movies and then sat in the car park for an hour after the movie.
That's nice.
Talking about like where we wanted to go and what we wanted to do, and her being as driven as I know I am.
Yep.
But sometimes am not or was not. It sort of just pushed me towards that completely different person that it should have been the whole time.
Yep.
Like not thinking about myself, thinking about the goals, and the suffering really helped.
Yep.
Like getting home and like I don't really have time to think about like the negative parts of my life. Obviously change them, but if you're just constantly training and focusing on the goal, I found that that's what helped me the most.
Yeah. Well, I think when you hate yourself, that's the best time to be training, right? Because you can put yourself through immense suffering and immense torture. And I think that's part of the reason why I got good at martial arts is because, you know, I would, kill myself training.
Yeah.
Because, I didn't really... Like I used to take everything as training, right? And to the point where, you know, when you go to the dentist, right?
Yeah.
It'd be like, you know, if they want to put a filling in, it'd be like, do you want the needle? I'm like, oh, let's try without.
Yeah.
Right? And you sit there and you just, you know, try and tank it before you give up and say, okay, I tap. You know, I need to get the block needle.
Yeah, please.
But it's one of those things that it's like, I used to view everything as training. Everything was an opportunity to test your mental fortitude, right? And when you aren't happy in life, like that's a great time to actually convert that unhappiness into energy that is actually going to give you something positive at the end of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely feel that way.
Right. And you know, through all that suffering, like sometimes when people say, oh, well, what did you went through all that suffering? What was it for? Well, if you didn't go through any suffering, then what was it for either?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't mean anything either way then. But the question is, what does it actually mean to you? What does that suffering mean to you? You know, what did you glean from that journey and that experience? And I think that's what makes, to me, I find training fun. You know, like when you eat shit, you know, like...
maybe not in the moment, you're not like, oh, I love this.
Yeah.
And then maybe you're like, I'll think about it later.
In the moment, you're always like, oh, how am I going to survive the next round?
Yeah.
Right? But after it, you're never ungrateful that you ate shit and you survived.
Oh, no.
Right?
Always grateful.
You're always grateful.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you got dropped 3 times.
Yeah.
Right? You got, body shot, not concussed. Because if you're concussed, obviously, you shouldn't be training. Yeah. But if you got dropped 3 times with a body shot and you made it to the end of the session, you're going to feel like, fuck, I made it.
Yeah.
Right?
I can take 4 next time.
Yeah. Right? Like there's growth in that. There's learning in that. And it's interesting. And I guess, you know, we'll get into martial arts because I'm curious about, you know, the gym culture at VT1. Obviously, I've been to VT1 before and when I go with Dex to roll and things like that. But I never really done anything with your Muay Thai guys or anything like that. So let's go back to, you know, life growing up. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in the eastern suburbs.
Okay.
We moved pretty much every time my parents had a new child. We had to get a new house. Like we had to like move out.
Upgrade.
Yeah, upgrade. Because we started with 2, obviously me and my biological sister. And then we had my sister and then brother. So every year we just had to keep moving. So we went from like Bondi to Maroubra, and then Maroubra to Matchville to Hillsdale, and not Hillsdale to Botany, and then back to Matchville, and oh god, and now we went from Malabar and then all the way up to Northern Beaches.
Wow,
I've been there for the last 6 years now.
Okay, so then from a schooling perspective, that would have mean that you've had to change schools a few times then.
Thankfully, no. I went to Marston College in Randwick.
Okay,
and so I always just got the bus from wherever I lived.
Okay, to go there,
and then and then I finished high school, HSC, and then we moved up north. So I got lucky, but my other siblings didn't. They had to constantly move. Yeah,
fair enough. So I guess tell me a little bit about, you know, what kind of a kid you were at school. Like how would you have described yourself, and how would others have described you? It doesn't always align.
Multiple times been called the class clown.
Yep.
Couldn't focus. All this, all that. I was very sporty though. I loved sport. Very athletic, and just. I guess it would just not pay attention. Yeah. But I pay attention to things I care about. Yeah. So in school, you don't really get a choice of what you get to care about. You just got to do it. And I always argued in religion class. I found
in religion class. Yeah. Well, let's digress. Let's talk about religion.
I just thought there's no wrong answer. So it's just fun to have an argument with the teacher because I can't be wrong and you can't be wrong. But
Was it so when it comes to religion, like where do you sort of sit on that spectrum of faith?
Don't have enough time to think about it.
Yep.
Obviously, I grew up Catholic,
Yep.
not by choice. I always tell my parents that.
Yeah.
Grew up Catholic, baptized, and I hated sitting and standing a lot in church. So I think that once I started realizing what religion was, more of a guideline for people to live their lives, I started getting into the what would you say, like the stories of it all. I was just like, well, none of it's true. I understand the point, but I'm just having fun here. It's just religion class.
Yeah.
But believing in God, never spent enough time to think about it.
Yeah.
Believe myself more than God.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things. And I think that's where the word faith comes from, right? Like, is that you have to have faith that there is a God, first of all. For me, I didn't really, I've said this story on the podcast before, so if somebody's heard this, I apologize, but I'll tell it because Tully's probably haven't heard it, right? But I had this experience on a drug they call mescaline. It's made from cactuses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it was a very weird experience. Obviously, it dissolves your ego. Like, you lose your sense of self.
Yep.
And I probably wouldn't recommend it. Like, even having done it, right? It's one of those things that I would say, I don't need to do it again. I think there's certain experiences that, you're content with to walk away after one. Yep. And when I did, it wasn't like I was doing it to get high and have a party. I actually went in, I've written down like all these religious questions that I wanted answered.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. And so I was like, basically I said to my wife, because my wife's a devout Catholic, and I said, if I'm going to go meet God, these are the questions that I'm going to ask you. Right. And
you would want to see my list.
well, at some point in your life, it might be a good thing for you to do. But anyway, so I had this list of questions and I'd written them all down beforehand, and, I'd taken these drops, and then I thought, sometimes they say to listen to like music. There's like a specific rhythmic music that's good to listen to. Yep. And so I put it on, and then I lay down in bed, and then, it was a very weird experience. Like, the first thing that I could remember happening was like, I started like having convulsions. Oh. Right.
Yeah.
And
get you a bit worried, I imagine.
They're like spasms, right? But the way that it felt to me was like, so I went from, there was no spasm, right? And you can imagine, so the imagery to think of is, think about like a lake, right? And a lake's very, very still. And then, but you can't see the edges of the lake. It just goes on for infinity. Yeah. Right? And then out of nowhere, there's like a finger that just touches the middle of the lake. And then you see the ripples start to expand out. And those ripples were like in time with me convulsing, right? And yeah, so here I am convulsing in time with these ripples, and then like it was like boom, I'm away, like I'm in this astral plane, or something like that, and like it felt like I'd lived 10,000 lives, like I've lived and died 10,000 times, right? And like I could, imagine being this kind of a person and that kind of person, female, male, a cat, a dog, like all of these different creatures. And I lived 10,000 lives, and I lived and died repeatedly. Jesus. Right? Like it sounds,
that must have been tormenting.
It sounds tormenting, right? But this is what happened, right? And I lived and died all these different lives. And, it would always, like, when you die, it would just be still.
And then ripple.
And then it would be boom. Yeah, you start convulsing again. Jesus. And like it would be like rhythmic, and it would start slow. And then it would start getting faster and faster and faster, and you live this life, and then you die, and then it start. So I think when I woke up, it was 2:30 in the morning, right?
Yeah.
I probably would have went to bed maybe around 9 or 9:30 or something like that.
Oh, so you were asleep?
I decided to go to bed, right? Like I took it in the evening, because I thought, the best time for me is probably going to be in the evening. I don't really want to do it when my kids are awake, just in case like I go loopy and I'm, like somewhere else, right? And I don't know what I'm doing, right? Of course, isn't it? So living all these lives, and then it's sort of like the imagery that I got. It sort of then started to zoom out, where the lives sort of became like pyrotechnics, right? They were just like these bright sort of fireworks that would go psh and like explode. Yeah. And then as you sort of zoomed out, it looked almost like a snake skin. So there's like silver and black patterns. You always think like the David Jones logo, right? But you just think about it like that as you zoom out, and this thing is like infinitely long, right? And what that tapestry of silver and black was like, all the different lives of everyone. Oh, right. That's what it felt like. Yeah. Right? And you just sort of realize that, hey, you're part of this really massive fabric of the universe. And it was like I touched one, and then it'll be like like that. It would just like dart off with some light and explode. And just touching one and doing that, like what you realize was that was somebody's life.
Yeah.
Right? Gone in an instant. Like, right? Like it's, they've lived their life. They've shined wherever they need to shine. And then they've exploded. They've died.
Yeah.
And that's what it was sort of like. And I think, you know, in reflection, when you sort of think about that, that would be like what our life would be like to God.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you've lived for an infinite amount of years, right? A life, even though for us it might be, say, 80, 100 years, you know, in the scheme of things, 80, 100 years isn't a very long time.
No, not really.
Right? And then, so what happened was then, so they talk about this, the concept of the Holy Spirit. I'm sure you've heard of the Holy Spirit, right?
Yes.
And you know, I'd never really, I could never really say that I felt the Holy Spirit. And what sort of, how this all sort of culminated at the end was that I got to this point where I had like this epiphany. And the epiphany for me was that, if you were God and you lived for an infinite amount of time, like it doesn't really matter to you what happens, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, if something's bad in the world, well, you wait 100 years, it's different again. You wait 1,000 years, 10,000 years, it's different again.
Yeah.
But the whole reason why, you know, we are here and we've been given this opportunity to live a life was because that's God's showing his love to us. Because it doesn't make any difference to him whether we live or die. But it means the world to us that we can live a life where we experience love, hate, joy, sadness, you know, all of these emotions. And that was all for us. And then like I woke up and I was bawling, right?
Yeah.
And I was like,
a bit terrifying.
Yeah.
Too, I imagine.
Right? Like I was bawling and that was, but I was happy.
Yeah.
Right? I was like crying these happy tears. And I was like, so that's when I busted out my phone and I started typing all these notes. And it was weird because the experience didn't just end there. Like when I woke up the next day, it lasted probably 3/4 of the next day.
Oh.
And I'd be doing things and like I could see myself, you know, physically doing those things.
Yeah.
But I'd have like insight from a different perspective, like from a God's perspective.
Wow.
Right? And so I'll give you an example. Something so it seemed like it might seem like it's really stupid, but I used to have this really negative connotation with the word sin or sinner. Right? I used to think it's very judgmental.
Yeah, bad person.
Yeah, right? Like, and then Christians would always say that, you know, we are all sinners, so therefore we're all bad people, right? And, you know, what sort of happened was I think my baby, the baby at the time had pooed. And so then I had to go and take her to go and wash her bum.
Yep.
And like, you know, when you're washing it, it's disgusting. Yeah, it's everywhere and blah, 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 blah. But like I had this other insight that was like, you know, when you consume life, the output is sin, right? And there's different levels of sin. There's, you know, sins of thought, but then there's sins of action as well.
Yep.
And there's different, you know, it's not to say that all sin is the same. You know, there are sins that are worse than others.
Yep.
But, you know, in going through that process of cleaning up the baby and all that, it was like, you know, when we die, we have to go through this process of just like, you know, I'm cleansing the baby so that I can give her a hug again. I don't want to carry her around with a pippy nappy where she's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You get cleansed before you rejoin God.
Yeah.
And like, to me, that big tapestry was like, you know, where everybody goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, I went on a massive tangent there because we
right.
started talking about it.
Like I said, I've never had an experience like that either. I've never even tried.
Yeah.
But religion was always just a guideline.
Yep.
Just a set of rules to sort of what teachers would teach you to me, rather than your parents teaching you how to live. It's just, I see it now as just guidelines for people to live their life. I don't see the spiritual side just yet.
Yep.
Like I said, like you, I imagine you didn't feel it when you were growing up. The Holy Spirit's just two words to me. Yeah. But I'm sure you think much differently about it now.
Yeah, like it's made me question a lot more, right? And I'm still trying to work out what it all means for myself.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, I really like the idea that, you know, it's not about religion, it's about your relationship.
Yeah.
You know, if you think of like, just like you got a relationship with your dad, right? That, you know, if there is a God out there and you were to view God like your dad,
relationship with God,
you'd want to have that relationship, right? And sometimes it's like, you know, it's like when you don't listen, right? They could be talking to you or trying to show you a sign, but if you don't listen, you'll never hear the voice.
Yeah.
But you have to be open to actually hearing the voice so that you can actually then accept the message.
Yeah, that's what I never understood about when people, I guess they say I found God or God helped me change my life around. I always just think it would be me doing that.
Mm.
Whereas they're just saying it's someone else, but it's their brain thinking about why they have to make a different choice, and they're making the choice because they think God is like helping them or telling them to do it. My brain would just be like, oh, well, it's my brain, it's me. That might be ego, but not like egocentric.
Yeah.
Just I'm not like up myself. I'm just thinking that's my thought.
Yep.
I thought that would be me doing that.
Yep.
So I just never understood where people come from.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an interesting one, right? Because from like the Eastern perspective, so I grew up more Buddhist, right? And so in Feng Shui and Buddhism, there's sort of like this, the concept is called Tian Di Ren, which is heaven, earth, and man, right? And we sort of view it like 33% of your life is dictated the day that you're born and the time that you're born. Like that's fate. That's what we call fate. And then 33% of your life is dictated by the choices that you make as a person. So that's your human component.
Yep.
And then 33% of your life is dictated by your surroundings. And that's what the idea behind Feng Shui is, that you want to set up, your things so that you have a specific sort of energy in your place or your work and all that sort of stuff. So that, and I guess if you think about it from that perspective, you can't control 100% of your life.
Yeah.
You only, the maximum you could control would be 66% of your life. And I think that's actually a reasonable way to look at it, right?
That's pretty fair.
We can make a lot of good choices, but hey, if there's a crooked judge, right, we're going to lose a fight.
Or if you just get run over.
If you get hit by a bus, right? Sometimes these things just happen, right? Like
I had something similar. I had tongue cancer 2020.
Whoa.
As soon as COVID happened, I won my state championship fight just before COVID happened. And I had an ulcer in my tongue that went from like the size of a 5-cent coin to about 50 cents.
Yep.
Did the classic man trick and just left it too long.
Wait, okay, so go back. So 2020.
Yep.
You had like an ulcer that was about the size of a 5-cent coin's pretty big.
Yeah, like it was just an ulcer that just kept getting bigger. And I say from like that, about that to the 50-cent size.
Yep.
And I just left it, thought, oh, an ulcer's going to go away. You can't really treat them. And then I left it too long. And then I had the state championship fight at the same venue we were in the North Shore.
Yep.
And a week before that, it was just killing me. I was so sick. I was so like infected. I had the flu, and my nose and throat were just wrecked.
Yep.
And then went to a doctor, said, you have to go get it checked out. And I said, oh, look, can I fight this fight? I've been training for like months to fight this fight. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. They booked me in the week after, won the fight, was completely drained. We didn't know why. We just thought I was sick, and me and my coach, didn't know why I couldn't like perform. Like I'm sure you watched me. Yeah. And then the week after, I got it biopsied. And a week later, they just said, yeah, it's tongue cancer.
So then, what's the process of how that gets treated?
It's pretty rough. They just cut it out.
Oh wow!
And you go in, and you don't know how much they're going to cut out your tongue. They say they have to cut around, like I think it's like 5 mil, a certain amount around the tumor itself. Yep. And they don't do any scans. They just go in. So it's 8-hour surgery. I had 2 different surgeons. I had to do like the cut-in one, and then what do they call it? The fixing one, I guess. Okay. The worst term for it. Yeah. One guy did the surgery, and the other guy like fixed everything back together because they had to connect a new tongue from like a skin graft from my hip. Yep.
So they actually had to cut out from your hip as well to then.
Yeah, I've got like a big scar going down my hip, down my groin.
Wow.
And then I got half a tongue.
Wow.
Pretty much.
So then, so was there any change in your speech?
Yeah. Well, even though I mumble still, it's pretty much the same now. Okay. Thankfully. But yeah, you just wake up and like I went into the surgery not knowing how long I'd be asleep for or how much of a tongue I'd have, or if I could swallow again. It was pretty worrying. And then, woke up and then just looked at it straight away, and thankfully it was only like just under half of the left side.
Wow.
And then I spent 7 days in hospital.
So what were you eating at that point? Well, they didn't give you food. They just
couldn't
put
eat
a tube down you or something?
5 days, yeah. I had the tube through the nose, down the throat. Oh. I threw that up 3 times. Yeah. The first time they were all surprised because usually it's older people that have this and their stomachs aren't strong enough to actually throw the cord back up. Yeah. So I threw that up, and then like, well, now you're awake. We actually have to put it back in while you're awake. So I had to shove it back through. I had to pull it back through the nose, get it out, then put it back in. Yeah. And had to swallow at the same time, so it went down my throat.
That would have felt nasty.
Yeah. And the only reason I threw it up was because they got me walking, which is good. Yeah. but when I woke up, I couldn't actually use my legs
because of the skin graft.
Yeah,
Just
so
like
I couldn't actually move my leg. The doctor had to lift it up and throw it on the ground. And so I woke up going, "What the fuck is going on?" Like I can't use my legs, I can't talk properly.
Yep.
And I couldn't swallow very well. So for the first 5 days, I was getting fed through the tube, and after the 4th day, I was the 3rd throw up. I said, "I'm
not doing the tube anymore.
Doing that anymore."
Yeah,
like because it would feed you with this protein liquid.
Yeah,
it just makes you feel very ill if you can move around, and then they get you walking, and I'm like, "Fucking, I'm just going to throw this up again."
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah. So then, could you start eating then, or not?
By the 5th day, they were like testing me with stuff, and I actually snuck some water in. I got an ice pack.
Yeah.
I think on the 3rd night, and because I couldn't actually drink any water or anything, my mouth was so dry constantly. So I got an ice pack. I think it's telling them I was really hot.
Yeah.
Let it melt. Drank it. It was not water. I don't know what it was.
Oh,
it wasn't like good water. So I was like backfired.
Yeah.
And yeah, by the 5th day, they got me tested on testing like soft liquids like yogurt, and after 5 days of not eating, that was like the best thing I've ever had.
Yeah.
It's the best food flavour again.
You'll never forget the taste of that first yogurt, right? Like,
custard and yogurt. Oh, it was next level.
How much weight did you lose over that period?
I went in at 88 and went down to 81.
Wow.
So I was just sitting there, and then, but I didn't, it's like I lost muscle because I came out.
Couldn't move.
Like fat as and skinny arms. Skinny fat was disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably because they force fed you straight into your stomach,
there was
right?
so much liquid going in, and then I lost all the muscle mass, which was shocking.
Yeah.
Came back when I first started training again after it. I was like skinny and like had a gut, and I was like, this is disgusting.
I can't look at myself.
My throat was all swollen as well from the actual reconstructing bit there as well.
Yep.
So they cut your tongue out, put the new one in, connect the nerve and the nerve in the vein, so that can actually survive.
Yeah.
And then they tested it every 4 hours, I think. So I couldn't actually sleep for the first 3 days.
Wow.
Every 4 hours, they'd have to test it as a pulse going to the tongue.
Yeah. So otherwise, your tongue would just not operate.
It would just
drop
die.
off.
Yeah. So that was worrying. Every 4 hours.
Yeah. Wow.
Couldn't sleep.
So mentally, do you remember what your mindset was?
Yeah, I was going into it. I was pretty careless about it because I just didn't know what it was going to be. They explained the whole surgery, and I'm just like, well, whatever. It doesn't really mean much to me. I understand when you're cutting something out.
Yeah.
But there was no point worrying about it too much. It was going to happen regardless.
Yep.
My stepdad is very logical with stuff. He's like, he doesn't understand anxiety. He never had it. He just problem solve it, steps to solve it.
That's good.
Yeah, it was he was very strong about it. My mum she was with me when I got diagnosed, and she was bawling her eyes out.
Yeah.
It made me cry, and I'm like, because I didn't know how bad the cancer was, because they don't actually know if it's actually spread yet.
Yep.
They test the lymph nodes after the surgery. So even after the surgery, I think it was like a few weeks until I knew if it actually spread to the rest of my body.
Yeah. Because
it goes lymph nodes, then blood, and then blood cancer.
And do they have any do you have any ideas what caused it, or it's just?
No, they have no idea. Like, I'm not a smoker at all. I was healthy as I could be. Constantly was preparing for fights. I think what happened was I had the ulcer, and then I got sick with an infection, and then one of the doctors, my GP thinks could have mutated it. Yeah.
Yep.
But they couldn't prove it, and they don't know why it's happening to young people, non-smokers.
Yep.
But they said it's happening more frequently.
More frequently.
Yeah.
It's probably a lot of we take for granted that we get food so easily nowadays.
Yeah.
But we don't really think about, the packaging that it comes in. We don't think about all And I think, there's obviously a lot of studies on phthalates and things like that, and how it leaches into, all your food and things like that. And
it's annoying to remember when I've got my lunch in the container. I'm like, oh fuck, I should probably put this on a plate.
Yeah.
And eat this up.
As before you heat it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's so we ended up changing all of our our kids' lunch boxes, the stainless steel ones.
Yeah.
And
safer.
Yeah, just in case, right? Like at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt. It's a bit annoying if you've got glass containers.
Yeah.
But we only use me and Andrew use the glass containers, and we'll give them a stainless steel one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I'd rather be safe than sorry, because we're exposed to that much of it nowadays anyway. It'd be impossible to say where it's come from.
Yeah.
But
it's just there now.
It's
everywhere.
there. Yeah. Right. When you go down, so obviously I'm in an apartment. When you go down to the bins, and you just see how much shit people throw out.
Yeah. Especially big communal bins. It's just, you have no control of other people's rubbish.
Well, there's probably 80 units in this complex, right? Oh. And, when you go down there and you look at how much shit there is there, it makes me stop and think for a second. And I'm like, all this is ending up in landfill.
Yeah.
Right. And
Everyone
then
just shoves it out of their mind like, I don't know where it goes.
Yeah.
It's not my problem.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that. Like you just fill the bin up and then it goes. You're like,
Yep.
where is this actually going? Like,
When's this going to come back and bite me?
yeah. Like my kids are.
All right. So let's go back to school a bit. Did you have any favorite subjects?
Not so much primary school. I don't remember too much.
Yep.
But high school, it was, I guess in hindsight, it was math, but I didn't apply myself as much. But legal studies.
Legal studies.
I like to argue.
Yep.
Even if I was wrong or even if I just didn't really understand what I was doing, I like to just understand points and
have a conversation.
Yeah. I guess in hindsight it was conversations, but I did like to argue.
Yep. Did that get you into any trouble?
Yeah, I mean, I was just a smart ass, but like not like annoying to like not like I got suspended a lot. I got like one detention one Saturday. Like I was just a funny smart ass, I guess.
Yeah.
And would pick my battles,
Yeah.
But legal studies was interesting. Besides the whole bookworm part of it, I didn't care about that. I just cared about like
having the argument.
People, the points they were trying to make in arguments and why they could make them, and then why ones would win and ones wouldn't. Evidence was fun, but yeah, I obviously never wanted to be a lawyer. I just liked the arguing point.
Yeah,
I did like English as well. I found with landscaping, I've actually applied math more than I would have thought I would have used math in my life. Math is pretty simple to me, but obviously I don't understand too much of the hard stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, English was always fun to write stories and reading. I like reading as well.
Yep. So then, did you have any idea when you were coming to the end of high school what you wanted to do next?
Yeah, I knew in year 10 that I wanted to be a professional fighter.
Okay.
In the UFC.
Yep.
And that's what I'm working towards, obviously. But yeah, I got cheated on, and the dude who was the cheater, I guess you would say, he was like jacked as and buff as, and I was a skinny, tall kid, lanky. I was like, well, I'm fucking obviously a pushover, and I don't want that shit to happen again. It started out of like a sort of egocentric, like I just want to be, I guess, I wouldn't be feared, but I don't want anyone to touch what's mine again.
Yeah. I it's an interesting point, right? Because I remember I had a relationship where it ended, and I remember going through this mentality of, one day I'll make you regret it, right? and like it sounds very vicious, that. But but I don't think I intended for it to be vicious from that perspective. I just think I would always use anything that happened negatively in my life as fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Right. If somebody was to talk down on me or look at me like I'm nothing, hey, no problem. Right.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like the way I always sort of view it, it comes down to body of work.
Yeah.
Right. And this is sort of like the phase that I'm in now. Like I'm basically transitioned out of this successful career in the automotive industry, and now I'm doing a whole bunch of different other things, but more sort of martial arts centric. So the podcast is not necessarily martial arts centric, but I obviously do my film studies. I'm still training, all that sort of stuff. In terms of fighting, it's probably not like I'm not going to be like any sort of champion at any point in time because I'm 38.
Yeah.
Right. Like let's be realistic about it. But for me,
you could be a jiu-jitsu champion.
Yeah, but it's not really like okay.
The striking sports, maybe you missed that boat.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. Like I train kickboxing 4 days a week, and look, if fight came up, I'd probably take it. Okay. But it's more for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
Right. Because at the end of the day, when I go to the gym, I go to war anyway with these guys.
Yeah.
So
might as well have fun with it.
Yeah, like it's one of those things. So, but and I train MMA as well. But I feel like, for me, it's not so much about my achievements. It's more about, I want to make sure that my training partners are successful.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Very important.
Yeah. I feel like I resonate more with probably the coaching and the teaching than the actual doing. And yeah, like I just feel like that is something that I really, really enjoy. But at the same time, the reasons why I haven't gone all the way into coaching and teaching is because I know that it would consume me.
Yeah, it's consuming.
Yeah, right? So when you want to invest in a fighter or somebody who you want to be successful, it's going to take up 24/7 of your life.
Yeah.
Right? You want to make, and like, so my my MMA coach, Renato, we did a podcast together and like he's so consumed by it, which is great.
Yeah.
Like I admire his passion, right? but I'm not ready in this stage of my life to do that.
Yeah, it's a big commitment.
Right?
I'm figuring it out now.
Yeah.
I'm only just starting coaching.
Right? Yeah. So, you know, because I've got 3 young kids, I want to make sure that, like, part of the reasons I'm trying to get out of auto is because I want to have more time with my family and my kids. So to then go and sort of take myself out of auto, and then if I was to go into coaching full time,
just swapping one.
I've just swapped one for the other.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, okay, I need to try and work out a different way of progressing, right?
Yep.
Because I feel like the coaching will always be there, like the teaching will always be there. Mm-hmm. If you're good at your craft and you know what to do and how to develop people, you'll always be able to do that.
Yep.
So so that was part of the reason why I was like, okay, what's a way that I can sort of do this where I can still enjoy family life and save those bigger commitments, because fighting is a full-time commitment too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's job. And that's part of the reason why it's like, yeah, I'll do it for shits and giggles, but there's no point trying to chase a title. And I guess for me, it's like at my age, right? Like it's not really that important to me.
Yeah.
Like I know that, you know, as you've found,
you
get a title and then so what?
Yeah. Next
right?
one.
Next one. Move on to the next fight.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, it's just, you know, I think I'll forever be a student of the game. And that's part of the reason why, you know, I started doing the martial arts film studies. Like I really enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know it consumes me as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll be working on one. So like as an example, I did one on Daniel Williams last week. Yeah. And he shared that online. Cool. So it's cool. Yeah. I've had a lot of good fighters share my work. Jonathan Haggerty's shared one of my film studies as well.
The general.
Yeah, the general. So, you know, when that happens, it's like, oh yeah, cool. But then it's like, yeah, it's on to the next one. Yeah. Like, you know, I have people message me, oh, that's so mad. And it's like, okay, yeah, but like,
yeah, you can't like get bogged down in your own success, I guess.
Right. And then, so that's why I look at it. It comes down to body of work, right? So when you're a fighter, it comes down to, well, how many fights you had? How much you won? How have you won? Right? The body of work will speak for itself.
Yeah, that's what I feel as well.
Right? And so, you know, all you got to do is keep grinding away at it and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And then the body of work will speak for itself. And that's the way I've approached it, you know, from the podcast, from the film studies. Like, you know, people would look at it and it's interesting because, you know, I feel like I'm nothing, right? But I'll have friends that'll be like, oh, you know, your podcast is up to like 60 something episodes.
Yeah.
Right. But to me, it's nothing.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Well, that's a good mindset to keep having.
Yeah. Look,
get
sometimes
like 1,000 in, you're like, it's nothing.
Yeah. Right. Like
another episode.
Yeah. That's sort of how I view it. And I feel like sometimes though, you do need to be, rather than get caught in this negative mindset, like, because then sometimes you get really negative about it. Like, I'll give you an example. Sometimes it'll be like, oh, I'm scheduling a whole bunch of podcasts. And then it'll be like, you know, things will just go wrong. When I say go wrong, it's like I've got this person booked in, they can no longer do it, and it's like fucked up my whole week.
Yep.
And then, you know, things won't line up, and then it just fucks with your mindset, right? Suddenly you're in this really negative mindset, and it's like, oh fuck, why do I do this? And you know, and you get really negative about it. But then it's like you got to take a step back and actually just go, okay. And sometimes it'll be like, you know, you reach out to somebody, and then it's like you get a really poor response.
Yeah.
Right. And then
not keen at all.
Yeah,
clearly.
Right. And then it's like you sort of you take it personally when you shouldn't, like, you know. And so I always have to take that step back and go, oh, it's not personal. Like the person's either busy or they hate speaking in front of the camera or whatever the case may be.
Well, they could have just sent that message at like a really busy time.
Exactly.
And then reply like, oh, sorry, man, I was so busy, I had to reply real quickly. I shouldn't have opened it.
Yep.
Shit happens.
Yeah. So that's sort of how I always bring my mindset back. But the initial thoughts. Yeah. Right. It's just like, you know, when you get booked for a fight, the initial thoughts are, oh, fuck, here we go again.
Yeah, my initial thoughts are always like, oh fuck, like it's another fight, and then I'm like always stressed about what they're gonna do, and then I'm always like in two minds, probably like you're the same. I'm like, oh, what's he gonna do? What am I gonna do? Don't care about that. And then the other one will be like, oh, what's he gonna do? And it'll just keep coming back and forth, and then as soon as you start throwing fists, nothing matters. Yeah,
that's it. You're in the moment.
Yeah, you just gotta it's just getting to that point.
Yeah,
it's quite weird.
And it's the mind games that your own head plays on you.
Yeah.
You know, even when you're in the back, you know, you're getting your hands wrapped and you'd be thinking, fuck, like I just want to get this over with.
Yeah, that happened in my second fight this year.
Yep.
The one where I got 3 knockdowns on 17-74. I didn't care. I never thought about much about the opponents. It's just as soon as I got in the ring, I was like, I don't really want to do this.
Yeah.
I'd not do this, but like I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I felt tired, felt slow, and then we just went out there and it's knockdown for knockdown. Yeah. And I was like, that was fun as fuck. I'm like, I just got to remember the positive feelings rather than I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
So this championship fight was I felt the best.
Yeah.
Going into it, I was like, I actually want to do this.
Yeah. You got yourself into a good frame of mind.
Yeah. It was good fun.
Yeah, and look, you know, irrespective, like once it's booked, like you might as well enjoy it,
Yeah.
right?
Like stressing about what they're going to do. There's nothing you can actually do.
Yeah.
Without thinking about it. It's
Yeah.
like, shut up. Just
Yeah.
put some music on.
Stop thinking about it.
I try not to think about the fight until like I'm warming up for the fight.
Yep.
Like as hard as it is, try not to think about my own training. I try not to think about game planning. Like everyone's asking me about the fight. How you going? How you feeling? I'm like, I don't even care right now.
Yeah.
Like I went away on a holiday the week before the fight, and then everyone's like, "Are you feeling it? Are you gonna be okay?" And I was like, "It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel great. The fight's gonna be the fight, and then obviously I've performed just like I know I should have."
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that's always good. So, at what age did you get involved in martial arts?
So I started at 18.
Okay.
Because I had to finish HSC and then I had to get a job to pay for the training.
Okay.
So I moved up to Mona Vale with my family. Just got a job landscaping. Quite enjoyable job, but I'm a bit over it now. It's just working outdoors. It makes you strong, but if you don't want to be there and you have like another goal in mind, it's pretty hard to stay there.
It feels like it's taking you away from it.
Yeah.
So you can always, I don't know, I think when it comes to, at least if it's a physical job, you can always look at it as, you know, training.
Yeah, like today
that's
I
it.
Lifted rocks and rocks and rocks.
Yep.
So just lifting boulders.
Just thinking of it like dumping somebody on the head,
Yeah.
right?
I was just doing deadlifts all day.
Yeah.
So I started martial arts at 18. So I started kickboxing, Muay Thai at a gym in Mona Vale, a local one.
Yep.
And then just fucked around for too many years. Girlfriend, it's more important than spending time where I should have just focused on the fighting. But, you know, I'm here now and I'm going pretty well, so I don't really care about it too much.
Yep.
But 2018 is when I joined VT1.
Yep.
Even when I joined, you had to like go through the ranks of the classes, like fundamentals, intermediates, advanced. And then you have to do this fight team tryout, which is death, if anyone's interested. Get training, it's fucking killer. I think I got dropped like 3 or 4 times after the heavy workout.
Really?
Yeah, like it's not grazing, but they spar you.
Yeah.
And I've done it as well a few times now. It's just,
and drop some
just
people.
a bit of fun, yeah.
Yeah.
You just show them what it's like to sort of want to fight anyway
in
a fight. What was I saying? Yeah, 2018 started, and then I was too worried. I made the fight team, and then I kept getting in my own head, getting in my own way of like, I don't want to go to the training. I didn't commit enough. I was like 5:30 is too early. I would get home from work at 4 and be like, I'll fall asleep. I'll have some food. I don't feel like training. And then 2019, when I met Sam, is when I had 5 fights that year. And then that's just when it switched. It was just like, I have to commit to this. Yeah. Everything. And then she really helped me convince myself that, because I was always camping and off-roading and seeing my friends and just having fun. And yeah, she really like drilled it into my head that you have to like focus so much. It was always there in me, which is why I'm so good at it now, and I can just do this 7 days a week, and it doesn't even feel like I'm doing anything. Yep. But yeah, back then she really like helped me drill into that.
So yeah, I think this is interesting because a lot of people think, oh, I'm not motivated, or I'm not motivated. Yeah. Right? Or it's a motivation issue. It's not actually a motivation issue. It's a discipline issue. Yeah. Right? Which I figured out. Yeah. Because a lot of the times, you fucking don't want to go and get smacked. Yeah. Right? Like when you sometimes when you wake up, you go, why the fuck do I do this? Right? Yeah. Like, why am I going there just to get hit in the face or get hit in the, I've got a black eye at the moment. Oh, yeah. You can probably see it. It's actually coming in. It's coming down. Yeah. Yeah. And that shot there was actually, would have been what? Yeah. It would have been a left hand, and it would have just gone like right there. Yeah. And then what's happened is that it's just, the bruise is just dropping onto the eye. And it was like, but when it hit me, I was like, I felt that. Like, I felt the fucking knuckle through the glove. And I was just like, MMA or boxing? That was kickboxing. That was, Damn, let's go through the glove too. Go through the glove, yeah. So, yeah. Look, I think, where I train, so I train with the guys at JNS, which is Janaksu Muay Thai gym just in Beverly Hills here. And, like, it's a pretty rough gym. Like, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Like it's I'm not gonna lie. Like it's just one of those things. And I think gym culture is really, really important and really interesting because every training facility has a different mindset and a different culture. Everyone's a bit different. Yeah. And a lot of people will say, oh, that place is really rough. Like it's full of cowboys and blah, blah, blah. But I think it's more about, you got to understand, what are you walking into, right? Because it's not just about, how these people are receiving you. It's also about, what is your mindset going in? Because I've come from the traditional martial arts. So I did karate as a kid, and then I went to kung fu. Did kung fu for 20 odd years of my life. Yep. And for me, it was like, it was very traditional from that perspective. So it was always about respect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They teach you a lot of respect. And so, you know, yes, you can get good, but, you know, if you're always respecting people too much, you'll never find your boundary in terms of how good you can be. Right?
I don't know what you mean by that. Because, like, when I spar people, I'm not, like, I don't think about respect. I think about the competition.
Yep.
So I don't know what you mean by that.
So let me give you this example. If you're sparring with somebody who is not on your level,
yeah.
how nice are you to them?
Yeah. Relatively nice until they start going hard, and then you got to explain. If you go hard, I'm going to go hard, and then you won't realize how hard you are going because I'll hit you hard. And you go, oh shit.
And then if somebody's better than you, right? Would you view showing respect as going lighter on them, or like, you know, trying to avoid escalating, or would you view respect as, okay, I got to go hard with this guy and potentially face the consequences?
Nah, I always think about.
Because this is the thing,
I never
right?
think about going hard though. I always think about, like, how am I going to win?
Yeah.
So always, like, I won't hit crazy hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So
good point to think about. I haven't thought about it.
Yeah. So I guess the way that I would view respect is that depending on the culture of the place, but the culture that we have at that gym is it's very much, you know, if you've trained somewhere else, well, I'm going to give you the respect, and I'm going to give you my A game, because at the end of the day, if I, you know, play around with you and you've trained somewhere else and you're, you know, you think you're really good or whatever, and I don't show you the respect by treating you seriously, that's disrespectful.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Right. But not all gyms have that same attitude. And that's what I mean by, you know, I had to change my mindset a little bit because, like in traditional martial arts, it's always very respectful in the sense that, you know, when you train with your senior, you don't try and, you know, demolish them.
Oh, okay. So, like, I guess if you, I was rolling with Dexter.
Yeah.
Even if I knew slightly something about jiu-jitsu, I still wouldn't try to smash him.
Yeah.
Because he's definitely the superior.
Well, so that's, you could view that as one way of showing respect, right? But on the flip side, like if I'm rolling Dexter, I'm going to try and smash him because that's my way of showing him respect. You're the brown belt. If I can fuck you up, I can fuck you up.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So there's two sides of the coin that you always have to choose.
So it's the same word.
Yeah.
But then how you approach it, and that's where it's like gym. When we talk about gym culture, like a lot of times people will go, "Oh, I didn't like that gym because they were really rough," or "I didn't like that gym because they were too soft." It was like, but what was your mindset going in?
Yeah.
Right. Forget it. Like I think you always got to appreciate, you know, when you walk into a gym to train at another person's gym, you actually have to pay attention to, well, what are their people like? You know, what is going to be respectful in that gym might be different to what's respectful in a different gym. At that gym, it might be respectful that, hey, you got to give a little and you got to match the intensity. I always view it as, so now I will always match intensity. If my partner starts to dial it up, I dial it up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, unless of course they're 40 kilos heavier than me, in which case it's like, no, let's do technical.
It's not worth it.
Let's say technical. We got one bloke at the gym, he's like 110 kilos probably. Yeah, and it's like, so it's always like, no, technical.
Yeah.
He can throw a jab and make me concuss. So.
I've sparred some big boys too, and it's just, I've always thought I was coming from that skinny kid. I've always had the mindset I'm not a big person.
Yep.
Even if I got muscle, I'm like, I'm still skinny like kid.
Yeah.
So when I spar the bigger boys who are like 100,
you gotta go. Yeah.
I'm like a fucking whippet, like running around.
Yeah, trying to run.
Like, fuck this shit. You're a big boy, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
that's funny as.
Yeah, so 2018 you started to get into it, and so we were talking about discipline, and I think that's a really important point to think about, is that it's not just about motivation; it's about showing up.
Yeah, I don't even think about motivation anymore.
Yeah,
like, I just know.
There's no choice.
Yeah. You don't give yourself that idea of like, oh, I'm going to sit at home today. Even if, like, I've sat at home all week this week. I've still like coached privates and all. I was still active, and I just didn't train. And then after the second day, I'm like, fuck, I feel like a fat shit. I need to
do something.
Get towards, like, keep pushing towards that goal.
Yeah.
So that discipline just comes in, and I don't even have to think about it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like if I sit at home for more than 3 hours, if it's my rest time, that's fine. I've already worked and trained, but if I'm having a rest day off training, it's something's definitely wrong. Yeah. Like I'm injured.
Yeah. So how do you balance your training at the moment? So because you obviously, if you want to go into the UFC, then you obviously got to move, like have a more rounded game. So are you doing much wrestling? Are you doing much jiu-jitsu at the moment?
When the fight was booked, I had to stop doing that.
Of course.
Just because I didn't want to get injured.
Yep.
You miss like 6 weeks of wrestling and jiu-jitsu. So I'm always in two minds. I always want to do it. Always better off not, just in case.
Yeah.
Because you're still booked for a fight.
Yeah.
You're still experienced regardless if you do the wrestling or not. You've got like experience in the ring, which is still pretty important.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would just be like Tuesday, Thursdays, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, whenever I can fit it in between coaching, privates, landscaping, and still doing the fight team workouts. And I'm still trying to
work out the right routine.
A great routine.
Yeah. That's always a challenging part, right? Like, because you're in this sort of area now where it's like you want to be able to do more, but at the same time, the time that you spend coaching and doing those things to bring in some of the money, it takes away from your own training as well.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Like last week I did like 9 privates, 10 classes, and that's time I should have been training type thing, or could have been training, and I'm just sitting there going, I should have been training, I should have done this, but I'm trying to move out of the landscaping, so I'm sort of in this like grey area of like I have to put time into the coaching so I can leave this and have more time to train.
Yeah.
And obviously coaching hours are heavily morning, heavily afternoon.
That's right.
So like I'm in a transition period right now. I've had a good schedule for a while of like just train, and then go home, train, go home. But now it's like I have to coach, train, coach, rest.
Yep.
And then coach, train. Yeah. Maybe get 2 sessions a night would be nice.
That's right. Yeah, I think it's important that like as you go through this transition, right, you probably need to look at your calendar and then go, okay, if I block out this amount of time to do your privates and those sorts of things, so that you've only got those spots, that will keep you more disciplined in terms of your own training, because you also don't want to burn yourself out. Yeah. And sometimes, like, let's be honest, like teaching privates can be draining. Yeah. Right? Yeah, especially if people are retarded. Like
I did do my best one today. I was like with my favorite client, but I was just tired. I was like tired, and I would say jab, and it's across. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Look, I don't think people realize how taxing it can be. Yeah. You know, and that was, you know, like I thought about, you know, like I was doing some privates to bring in some extra money in this transition as well, and then I was like, you know, why am I doing this? Like, you know, like for what my goals were, it's like it didn't really. I could chew a lot of time doing this. Yeah. But then, is it really getting me closer to the goals that I want? Yeah. Right. And so that's when I was like, okay, well, if I just focus on the body of work and do more film studies and things like that, like at some point, you know, hopefully, so okay, to give you the backstory, right? With my original channel, so the original Johnny Yap's channel, I was an idiot at the start. Like the way I sort of did it was like, I'll just put everything on the one channel. And the way YouTube works is it doesn't really favor that, because people want specific content. So, you know, so what happened was I'd have the podcast there, but then I'd also put my film studies there. Oh, okay. And then one of the film studies took off. Like when I say took off, went a little bit viral, 70,000 views. And I gained a whole bunch of subscribers off the back of that. But then what happened was that I did a parody against Dan Andrews, our mate in Victoria, and it got me shadow banned. So my channel traffic tanked. Yep. Right. And so as a result, I shot myself in my own foot, right? Because at the end of the day, like I grew to like 800 subscribers pretty quickly, and then after I did that, like that just fucked me.
Oh yeah, because they'll be following you for the breakdowns, and you go, "Why is this going all political on me right now?"
Yeah,
I don't need this shit.
Yeah, so there was a bit of that, and then but that specific video got me shadow banned, and it was one of those things. It was weird because I didn't really. I was trying to work it out at the time, and then I realized, after I'd put up that video, like the impressions had dropped, everything had dropped. You could see it in the statistics. Yeah. So you know, I don't know. You know, if there's somebody specific that you could ask whether it was the case or not, but I could see it from how much they were allowing my content to be pushed. And so, you know, so that's when I realized, you know, I think, when was it? It's probably like a bit earlier this year that I was like, okay, I'm going to split the channel. So I started a new channel, which is the martial arts channel, but now I've got to basically build it up from scratch again. Yeah. And like, you know, I post on the other one to go and say, hey, please subscribe if you're following me for the martial arts stuff on the other side. Yep. But, you know, people don't really check it and move on. They just go to the playlist and they'll just follow whatever's in the playlist. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to work on at the present moment. But yeah, so what I sort of think about is like, if I just keep going at it, I'll get to the point where the body of work will be there. Yeah. And
people for sharing it. Like,
yeah. If the fighters share it, look, and look, it's funny because, you know, when I do these studies, I always send them to Dexter generally a little bit early. Yeah. And I'll go, oh, what do you think? And because he's like, you know, purely a jiu-jitsu guy. Yeah. He's like, oh, some of your striking videos, like the points go over my head. And it's like I can understand your jiu-jitsu ones because obviously, you know, it's what I do. But then some of the striking ones, he's like, oh, it goes over my head. Yeah. And then like we always talk about, I was like, oh, fuck, if only the casuals can understand some of the stuff that I talk about. Right? It's like I'm purely making stuff for fighters and and guys who are into martial arts.
Yeah, you
as opposed
to like dumb it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Not dumb it down, but explain why something would be done and then explain it not so martial arts heavy.
Yeah. But okay.
Not to say you have to do it, but just for the casuals, because they'll be like, he's talking too much about technique.
What I grapple with, right, is, and like I have a friend who's really into socials and he's got some pretty big Instagram accounts and he's always saying the same thing to me. Like, he's like, oh, you got to go do lists and do like a list of your top 10 favorite fighters and all this sort of stuff. What I sort of grapple with is that it's like, it's not really being authentic to why I do it in the first place. Like why I study fights in the first place is because I'm trying to work on my own fight analysis skills. Yeah. Right. So that if I'm commentating or if I'm coaching, you know, I've got all these different ideas to pull from. Yep. And then, so as an example, if I show somebody a concept, then it's like, oh yeah, I did a film study about this. You can go watch it. Right. So if it didn't really like completely make sense on the night that I'm showing it or whatever, then you can go away and you can have a look at the concept and take your time to go through it and understand it.
Break it down.
Yeah, in more detail, right? So I don't know whether, if I start sort of selling out, so to speak, and doing like lists and things like that, if that's going to be...
You could do a top 10 fighters to break down.
Top 10 fighters to break down.
Yeah, like that you enjoy the most to watch to break down.
Okay.
That'd be a little bit more authentic.
Yeah.
It'd be like catering to like trying to...
A little bit casual and a little
bit... get the top 10 list, but like why you like to break them down the most.
Yeah.
Compared to other fighters.
So, okay, when it comes to your own fights, like how often do you watch back all your fights?
Oh, I watch it straight away.
Yep.
I don't understand the people who don't watch it, but maybe it'll change later. But I get usually someone to screen record the stream. Yep. So I got like perfect quality straight away.
Yep.
And then, I watch it back and just know what I do. Like I was saying, like it's just the fight's done. Like I'm not going to think I'm better than I am because I won the fight.
Yep.
It's just I fought and I won.
Yep.
I might have won a belt. Doesn't really matter.
Yep.
And then I watch the fight and I just pick out what I did wrong. And then the next week as soon as I start training, I like to write it down so it's out of my head.
Yep.
What I want to work on. And then, just start training. Just start doing them.
Yeah, I do that when I do my sessions. Yeah. So I always think about, okay, if I had a session and I feel like I kept losing in this particular scenario, it's like, okay, I need to go and look that up. Yeah. So if it's jiu-jitsu, it might be positional related and I'll go, okay, I'll go and look at instructional or something on that particular scenario. Yeah. Or I'll go and if it's striking related, then I'll go and try and find fighters that fight in that style. Yeah. To try and emulate, I guess, to make sure that when I come back, I've got an answer.
Yeah, rather than just like, we'll try and figure it out now.
Yeah.
You've done some research
into
it, yeah.
Right, because a lot of the times, and that's, I guess, why the way that I try and focus my studies is like, you can watch fights where, it's a lucky, not to say a lucky punch, but it's a well-timed punch, right? Yeah. Or a well-timed kick.
Yeah, that lucky punch is like, is it luck if he did it himself or herself? You know, they threw the punch.
Yeah.
What's luck got to do with it?
No,
every punch is thrown.
Yeah, every punch. Yeah, but it's like what I like to when I'm studying fights, I always like to look at scenarios that repeat themselves. Yeah. Right, and then the adjustments that you make to then counter those situations, because I think that's where the insight is, right? Yeah. How do you actually turn this into a higher percentage outcome for yourself? Yeah. Right. I guess in talking about your national title fight, it was an interesting fight. Yeah. Right. So you had a little bit of a height and reach advantage over your opponent. Yeah. Leroy, I think his name was, right?
Leroy, yeah.
Yep. But he was a tough guy as well, tough competitor.
Yeah, it took me probably longer than I expected to find my own range. That's been my main focus, fighting in my range. And I understand being so tall and long or longer, people want to close that distance. So I got used to like fighting people in that closer distance. And my coach said, no, you have to stay long. Yep. Even though you might be beating them there, it's just like you're taking on unnecessary risk.
Damage, yeah.
So that fight took me probably 2 more rounds than it should have to figure out how far away I was. And even in the second round, my stage 1 attacks were very I just didn't set up my stage 2 or 3 attacks. Like I would do jab cross and he would evade, and I'd be not in the position I should have been in, and he'd be out there swinging back at me or spinning back fists or spinning elbows.
Spinning elbows, yeah.
And I was just like, what the fuck's going on? And then as soon as I got a hold of him and then need him, obviously that
Changed it a little bit.
that was a bit more my style. But yeah, it took me a while to get comfortable in that fight.
When this is something that I think comes up for a lot of martial artists, but at what point did you sort of work out what your style was? Or are you still working it out?
I spar completely different to how I fight. That's the funny thing.
Really?
I spar. I'm still on the front foot, so I'm always slightly pressuring the person, but I'm always trying to figure out what they're going to do and then just react. And so I'm always trying to counterattack.
Yeah. So you're a counter fighter. Yeah.
Inspiring.
Okay.
And I don't get hit as much inspiring. And then in the fight, I just fucking go at the person.
Okay.
And now that's why my coach is like, you have to pull back. You can't just go into people. They'll hit you.
Yep.
Like in my second fight this year, I got dropped.
Yeah.
Well, technically didn't get dropped. I survived somehow. I dropped down unconscious and then came back.
Yep.
And the ref's like, oh, fight on.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you
and
said it.
And he was still a bit.
Yeah, and then I came back and knocked him down straight away after. And I was like, oh, fuck, okay, we're in the fight. But yeah, it's I don't know what it is. I just love to go forward and pressure. And then I just have to do that far away enough, though, that they're not going to hit me.
Yep.
So when I figured it out, I don't think I figured it out yet.
Yep.
I still love to just grab him and knee him in the face.
Yep.
And you got to get close to do that.
You got to get close to it. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I think, styles, a lot of people, I think you got to have all your fundamentals there before you can work out what your style is.
Yeah.
But I think everybody can work out, what do they enjoy? What range do they actually like to fight in? And then obviously, in the fight, people are trying to take that away from you. They're trying to make you fight their game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually just remembered I did karate.
Yeah.
Or taekwondo, one of them.
Yep.
In primary school. And then when I started at VT1, they were always like, oh, did you do any karate or anything? Because I had these really snappy kicks that didn't turn my hip over at all in Muay Thai kicks.
Yep.
And then that's one of my favorite attacks, just head kicks, just out of nowhere.
Yep.
I can do a switch kick without switching, just go bop.
Up the top, yeah.
And then I've had to really learn the Muay Thai style and turn everything over.
Yep.
And then I think that's why I enjoy the knees so much, because someone tries to close the distance because they're tall. They're like, oh, I have to get in close, and then I just fucking grab them and smash them with the knees.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's helped with the style. Sorry, that just popped in my mind.
Yep.
I lied. I started karate when I was in
Look, I think a lot of people do. I started karate as a kid because I was a bit of a sook.
Yeah.
I used to cry as a bit of a manipulation tool. You can just cry and get what you want. So I was like, okay, have a bit of a sook, and my parents would give in.
So they gave you karate because you cried?
Yeah. Well, no, not because I wanted to do karate, but because they were like, we need to toughen this guy up.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah. So then they sent me to karate, and I really liked it. I got really into it, and I was like, I think the first couple of gradings I had, I would double grade, I'd skip belts and things like that. And then I remember this one time actually, I was pretty dirty about it, but I think it was my third grading. I didn't get to double grade, and I had the shits about it. It was just
filthy.
Yeah, it upset me because there was another girl who did double grade, and I just missed out.
Okay. Yeah.
And it just made me really annoyed.
Yeah.
Why didn't I get it?
Why didn't she get it?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And then, I'm sort of a bit mixed in the whole idea of gradings.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys do gradings at VT1?
Yeah, we just
obviously
grade them.
jiu-jitsu, but
you can't really.
Yeah, can't avoid that.
System.
Yeah.
But Muay Thai, we just do it for the kids, just armbands.
Yep.
To try and do things and progress for them. I guess they can sort of see where they're going if they even do. The kids, who knows?
Yep.
But the teens and adults, it's fundamentals. Complete the fundamental grading course and then go to intermediates, and I think it's just a clearer step to how you're progressing as well.
Yep.
When I started in intermediates because I had some skill training at the other martial arts gym, and then to just get put into advanced, it gave me a bit of confidence, even though it might not have been warranted. Someone else saw that I was a bit more advanced than the intermediates guys, so they moved me up.
Yep.
And they're you should do the fight team, and that's what I wanted to do. So I guess it's just a clearer progress.
Yep.
But what's your take on it?
Look, I think when it comes to gradings, I think at the end of the day, people know what your skill is when you actually
straight away
go, right?
Watch someone kick the rain, you go,
yeah,
your fundamentals.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm a bit mixed. And look, I say that I've got grades from Kung Fu.
Yeah.
So I think I might have my plaque over there, but I'm like an 8th Dan or something like that.
Oh yeah.
You can't. I'll show you after.
Oh yeah, I was trying to look. I'm like, where?
No, I'll find it actually. Hang on. Might as well grab it.
I don't think I progressed enough to get any belts. So what is that? Is that like the
So
peak?
that's for no, I think it goes up to 10.
Is that 1?
So I'm 8th.
Oh,
so
okay, right.
yeah, 10th is the highest. I think most of the people that are 10 have passed on, like they did. Like it's more like an honorary title.
Okay, yeah.
So it's fairly up there.
Hopefully you don't get there. Stick around 8 or 9.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. I'll put it down. Yeah, so like I feel like the idea behind gradings is good, but I feel like there's nothing like real combat experience, right? Like so, if you compete, like competing is essentially the same as like grading. If you go and do a jiu-jitsu comp, or you go do a development day, or you actually get in the ring and fight, that you're gonna grow. You're gonna grow exponentially from that more than anything you could do in training because the mindset's different.
Oh, massive.
Yeah, right.
But I think that's just speaking from VT1 experience. I haven't trained many other gyms, but yeah, the fundamentals can't be in the fight team.
Yeah,
the intermediates can't be in the fight team, and the advanced guys can't be in the fight team. You have to do the fight team tryouts.
Oh, so you actually do the fight team tryouts.
So like we've got separate sessions for everyone.
Yep.
So like the intermediates won't smash the fundamentals. So I think that's the only reason I say is being good.
Yep.
They won't be disheartened, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess yeah, like that's a way to weed out the levels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I always find grading is a very interesting one. Like I think if you're in a combat sport, then you definitely need to actually do combat.
Yeah.
Right. But if it's for health and fitness and that style or it's cultural, then gradings might be a good thing to then denote your years of practice and things like that.
Well, I think especially with jiu-jitsu, like you might never compete once, but you've still been doing it for 10 years, still deserve a black belt, you still know what to do. So yeah, I always, I agree. I don't think it's important, I guess, just to show that you've stuck to something. You've been disciplined enough to get to a certain point, like 8th. I don't know how hard it was to get.
Yeah.
I guess it's nice to, like with the belts,
yeah,
it is experience, but it's nice to, even though they don't mean much, they mean something to me because it was experience gained and hard work put in. It's nice to just see it in a little belt. Like I just hang it up in the gym straight away. I don't even look at it at home.
Yeah, I suppose the way I sort of view it is like they're all just steps on the way, right? Like I don't really just like the way that you look at fights. I was the same. Like so when I competed, I used to compete in pancration, and pancration back then was like sort of like combat grappling essentially. Oh, okay. But it was no hits to the head. So it was punches and kicks to the body, takedowns and submission wrestling.
Yeah. That's like perfect world if you didn't want head damage.
Yeah. Well, so I think pancration is like it's obviously not in anymore. But when that was, so I competed probably in around like 2005 or so.
Yeah.
So early days. And that's when there wasn't really a lot out there in terms of like mixed martial arts competition.
Yeah.
So back then pancration was the thing, and I think there's obviously like I think 1 or 2 sambo comps and some combat grappling later on, and it used to actually be run through PCYC. So because PCYC has the wrestling program, and they used to do like these pancration fights, and I don't think it's I don't think it's big anymore in Australia, but I think they still do it overseas. Like there's like junior pancration worlds and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. But I think that's a great way, especially for younger kids, to actually get combat experience without worrying about head trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very important. Yeah. It's like to get the experience and then not actually get smashed in the brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. You have to do it in kickboxing.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know how much you can take until you have to take it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very good point. And people worry, like my girlfriend always pops my pimples and she's like, you get punched in the face. Like, how does this hurt? I go, it doesn't hurt to get punched in the face. Yeah. It hurts to squeeze my face. She always calls me a pussy.
That's hilarious. Have there been any fights where, you feel like you didn't learn the right lessons from it? And I guess I'll give you an example, right? So I always talk about this. My first fight, I won, and I didn't learn the lessons that I should have from that. Like it just sort of, to me, it was like, my ground game was suboptimal. I hadn't done really any ground training at that point in time. I managed to get the guy down and get him in like a bulldog choke, and I won via submission. Yeah. But it sort of masked, like I was doing great in the stand up, but it masked my deficiencies in all the other parts, in of the game. And so I felt like, I feel like that actually hindered my longer term process in martial arts, because I felt like I got away with it, and I was like, oh yeah, what I'm doing is right. Like I don't need to worry about learning anything else. I can just get away with just sticking to this one thing, and that will be enough to guide me. And
like it just works. It's worked so long that
Yeah.
Not focusing on the other things.
Yeah, and then when I started to lose, it was like it became an excuse. It was like, oh, but I can win because I've won before.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than actually going back to the drawing board and saying, okay, what do I actually need to do to actually get better?
I don't think I've ever won and not taken away something I can't improve on.
Yep.
Like the first one, the first state title fight, or the only one, just was the cancer.
Yeah.
But it was like my cardio was terrible, obviously. And then my fight after that, my first fight back, my mindset was off. My hormones were all off from the cancer surgery. It was a year later. I fought again.
Yeah.
And I got my legs smashed. Like I couldn't walk for 2 weeks. I had to, like, my coach like threw the towel in.
Oh wow!
After the first round, I just said I can't
walk.
do this. I'm not here. Like I don't want to be here. My legs fucked already.
Yeah.
So like I walked away with that. That made me way better than I was. Just took me another year to put it all together. Even in the last 3 fights, like the first one, I fought down in Canberra again. The place I got smashed the year before, and I knocked the guy out in the first round, and I was just way too close. I just closed the distance way too quickly. So that's what I worked on.
Yep.
Second fight, closed the distance way too quickly, but I got hit hard, and I got almost dropped. So then this fight, coming in, I felt too far away. Then I felt too close. But then, now I'm learning to. That's why I watch the fights straight away. There's always something
it's
you can
fresh.
Work on. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you write it down or you?
I usually write down in like a diary or something. I just like what I need to do, and then it just stays in my mind. Yep. Constantly, and then my coach is constantly fucking yelling at me. You're too close. I'm like, oh fuck. I thought I was fine.
Yeah, it's interesting when you're commentating, right? Like, because I could hear the corners.
Yeah.
And so
Dylan screaming.
Yeah, I could hear Dylan screaming, and it was funny. I think I made that comment. That I could hear one of the corners saying something.
Pick your shots.
Yeah, pick your shots. And commentary is an interesting game because there's many different styles, I think, to commentators. You know, there's play-by-play guys. There's guys that will just talk. Yeah. There's guys that will obviously do the ad reads and things like that. Yeah. So I don't really know what my style is or anything like that. I'm still trying to work that out.
You had the good knowledge behind why someone, like, even when you talked about the calf kicks, I didn't think like I'm doing this because it's not very Muay Thai, or I was trying to damage, trying to accumulate damage, trying to get him to think about the leg, so you like stop moving so much. And when you said that, I was like, oh, that's pretty insightful. Some people would just say, oh, you're kicking the leg. Not like, oh, they don't actually do that in Muay Thai very often because they can check very easily. Yeah. And I can't walk for a week now, but
yeah, that's right.
That's the exact reason why I do Muay Thai.
Yeah, so it was one of the when I did a podcast with Percy, one of my other teammates who fights MMA. He was talking about how at one of his fights, I think Jimmy Crute was commentating. Oh yeah. And Jimmy Crute made the comment that Percy was going for a ninja choke, and Jimmy Crute was saying, "Hey, if I was Percy here, I'd be switching it up for a Das or an Anaconda." Oh, okay. Yeah. And when Percy watched back his fight, he said that was really insightful for him. Yeah. And I think that's probably what influences my style of commentating is that, again, probably not really geared to the casual. It's probably geared more to the fighter. But I always like to think about, if I was in this person's corner, what would I say? If I was in the other person's corner, what would I say? What are the adjustments that need to be made in this fight? Because I feel like that's a way that I'm actually getting, I'm basically getting live cornering practice. Yeah. And getting paid for it. Yeah. Right?
But everyone listens.
But everyone listens, right?
And it's recorded.
So and it's recorded. So so I think when I commentate, that's what's in my mind is that if no matter who wins this fight, if they can both glean some insight from something that I've said, then I've done a successful job. Yeah. Right? And I think someone, Magic Mike in your team, he messaged me and he said the same thing. He was like, "Oh, I appreciate your points," and so I sent him a few other points that I thought about, and he's like, "Oh, they're all really good points." So he'll grow from that experience as well. So
I was screaming at him. I was like, "Check."
Yeah,
check. I've been in that position. Like
you ate leg kicks previously.
I got my legs smashed, and I was like, "Oh no, oh no, oh no."
I tell you,
but he's fine. He's fucking much tougher than me.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things like in sparring, like sometimes we don't respect the shots as much as we should. Yeah. Right. And that creates lazy habits.
It does happen. Yeah. Yeah. We don't like, not everyone, but I don't like to spar hard at all. If I'm not getting paid, which I'm still not getting paid. Yep. But my thought process is if I'm not getting paid to take all this damage in the gym, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to play around, have fun. Like I said, work on counterattacks. Yep. And then I'm never too worried about like not putting power shots together. I can hit the bag as hard as I want.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. I don't have to hit a person.
Yep.
That's why, like, I think our gym culture is a bit more relaxed.
From that
If you
perspective.
spar hard, what's the point? You're going to lose 2 days of training.
Yep.
You can't wrestle because your leg's corked.
Yep.
You know, you can't do anything because your shin's fucked from checking hard kicks. So I guess going back to your gym, you know, if the level rises, then you rise with it, but you don't want to do that every week.
Yeah.
Week in, week out.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think the guys in the morning, if we like the guys that go to our morning class, we know what we're in for.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was one of those things, like just like how you guys got levels, right?
Yeah.
One of the boys turned up who went to one of the evening classes, and I just remember, you know, one of the guys was like, "Mate, just shut up! Like you're being a bitch." Like, it was one of those things.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the class, I was like, "I don't think he's coming back to morning class." And he's like, "No, he's not."
Sticking to the afternoon one.
Yeah. So, you know, I think they're all very interesting things. Like, you know, as I said, I think gym culture is always really different no matter where you train.
Yeah.
You know, the good thing about VT1 is that obviously you guys have everything in the one location.
Yeah, that's what drew me to the gym in the first place. I met Richie Vass. Oh, no, not Richie Vass. Richie Walsh, sorry.
Yep.
Met Richie Walsh in the Monavale Fitness first. I was kicking the bag, like real karate style.
Yep.
Didn't know I was doing
Doing?
it.
Yep.
You know, it's just kicking. He's like, "Oh, I wish I could kick like that." And I was like, "What the fuck? You're in the UFC? I know you
Yeah.
are." And I looked him up and saw where he trained. And I was in Chatswood. And I was like, "Oh, it's a bit of a drive." And you know, it took me to 2018 to start going there. But yeah, that's what got me there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
All right. Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about what do you want to talk about? I don't know. Talk about relationships. We already sort of talked about relationships.
Yeah, he did a little bit, didn't we? I'm in a very loving one at the moment.
Yep. Have you been through some bad ones? Obviously, you had that one where you ended up, you know, as a skinny guy, and there was the jack guy.
Yeah, and when I was going through that, I was watching John Jones, and he fought Glover Teixeira.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like I'm not that big, but he's like tall and skinny for a big guy.
Yeah.
And he's just smashing people. I was like, fuck, maybe I can probably do that. And I realized that as well when sort of made the dream a reality when Rob Whittaker won the belt. I was like, oh, fucking from Australia, like where I live in Sydney, you can go and fight in the world and win belts. And yeah, but when I was going through that relationship, I was like, I didn't want to like hurt people. I just didn't want people to think I was a pushover anymore. Yeah, in that egocentric relationship style.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Actually, like it paid off last weekend. Actually, I dropped my girlfriend to a party.
Yeah,
and then she got there, and then everyone was talking about me. Like everyone knew that was my girlfriend, and like she was friends with them. I didn't know them. Yeah, all the dudes they were like, "Oh, I saw your boyfriend win his fight. How good!" And she's like, "It actually made me feel good knowing I could go to a party and not be annoyed by people because they know who my boyfriend is." Yeah, and it annoyed me, like hitting on, and I was like, "Fucking, that's the reason I started Muay Thai." I mean, that's why that was the payoff. Yeah, I was like, it was a real surreal moment. I was like, "Oh wow,
that's good. It's
actually real."
I think you know, with those. Like, even though the initial motivation was drawn from that, like it's one of those things that, you know, if you commit to it, you can make a life of it. Yeah. You know, and that's what I'm trying to do with my martial arts is make a life of it, right? Like, there's a difference between fighters and martial artists. Like, fighters are the guys that will do a fight camp, fight, and then in their off time, you know, get fat, do all that. Yeah. Right? Like, you know, but that was never me, right? I've always been, you know, I live it as a daily discipline.
Yeah, it's a very George St. Pierre style. Of life, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think it keeps you sane. Yeah. You know?
Well, like I said, like I've had a week off and I'm at the gym still watching everyone train. I'm like, fucking, I need to move, but then I can't move. And then I hurt myself more if I do move. It's very frustrating.
How is it teaching kids classes?
I've only really recently started in the last few weeks. I did the teens MMA today, and obviously I'm not a big MMA guy, so I taught them like Muay Thai sweeps and strikes within Muay Thai realm. Yep. But then just don't listen too much. But then some of them are like really zoned in. Yeah. And they're like, I had 3 girls that were just doing the moves, having fun, and the 4 boys were just fucking around. And I'm like, wait, like stop fucking around. Yeah. These guys are doing it. The girls are doing it. Some of the dudes are really keen. Like one of the guys looks like he just wants to be a fighter. Yeah. He's like 14. Yeah. He's really committed. And then when the kids are mucking around, I just went over and threw him over my leg. I was like, all right, you still fucking around. Yeah. Like just playing with them. Yeah. Like different personalities. It's so much crazier than adults where you can just tell the adults what to do and explain and coach them. I feel like the kids, you got to be like a roaming father figure. Yeah. Like you're doing really well. Like, oh, stop fucking around. Listen up. Well, I didn't swear at the kids. But in my mind, I'm like, stop fucking around. The other kids are playing up. I just throw them over my leg, do a sweep. And I'm like, that's what you got to do. Yeah.
You got to make it fun.
Yeah. And you just got. I think I've learnt that from my parents having so many personalities in the house. My dad's like, you got to deal with everyone differently. Like I'm very relaxed. You tell me to do something, I'll do it. You tell me to like fix a mistake, I'll fix a mistake. My 14-year-old brother don't give a fuck about anything.
Yeah.
No consequences.
What's he into? Like, does he like gaming? Does he like does he train? Does he do anything?
Yeah, he's picked up weight training, so he's getting bigger with all the testosterone going to his body. He's actually like seeing results. Yeah, but he just plays games. The thing he keeps doing is vaping when he shouldn't vape. Yeah, and he's getting kicked out of schools for vaping. Took him to boarding school, got kicked out of there eventually. Wow. My parents like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. So like, every personality is different. So when you teach kids, I'm still learning that you got to be like a fucking.
You have to be adaptable.
Yeah, adaptable, but like in charge.
Yeah,
more so than adults.
Yeah. Well, you like to hope the adults are there because they want to get better. Yeah, whereas sometimes the kids are just there because their parents have dropped them off.
Yeah, and I think the adults can respect you a bit more. Yeah. Like you're saying, like they know the respect. They're walking and go, oh, he's the coach. Yep. First off. And then I'll be like, oh, I just won my fight. Yep. And how'd you win? I knocked him out with the knee to the face. They're like, oh, shit, jeez. Okay. I'll listen, Yeah. So it's fun. I've been doing coaching for 6 to 8 months. So it's getting more fun.
Yeah, fair enough. With the landscaping, how did you end up getting into that?
Just a family friend owned a business, and I wasn't sure what trade to do, so I was like, I'll try landscaping. Yep. I was like working outdoors, getting paid in the sun. Yep. The rain days are shit. You get soaked, and you go home thinking, I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh, so you guys still operate when it's training?
Oh yeah.
I would have thought maybe like with like a lot of trades they don't, like building and things like that they don't.
You can't make money if you just don't work.
Yeah, true.
So my boss is like, we just work in the rain. We get treated pretty well. It's not like forced to. Like if it's torrential, you stop. But if it's torrential all day, you eventually got to start again.
Yeah, fair enough.
So you just get drenched, and it just slowly grinded down on me. And I was like, I just want to move into something else, and found coaching. So landscape was just the way to make money. Yep. And it was just a fun way to do it. I've worked in like Woolworths and Hoyts, and I hated those jobs. My dad would come in and spill the popcorn in front of me on purpose.
No way.
I'm like,
really?
Yeah. It's practically funny like that.
Yeah. And so then you'd have to go and get the vacuum and clean it all up.
Yeah, well, I already had the thing in front of me. And he would come and go.
Oh, what a bastard!
Just smart ass fun.
And then at Woolies, you were doing checkout or something?
Yeah, it was a checkout, and I can't stand still. Even sitting still, I'm always moving. I'm sure you're watching the video.
Yeah,
I'm like,
fidgeting.
Yeah. So Woolworths was pretty short lived.
Yeah.
So when I found landscaping, I was like, oh, it fits pretty well. Outdoors.
Yep. Physical.
Get paid to build stuff, and just moving constantly.
Yep. Have there been any lessons that you sort of taken away from landscaping? Like, is there any, whether it's the people that you work with or your boss or anything?
There's a few. There's like discipline, definitely. Like my boss runs a pretty successful landscaping business for landscaping, like top end of landscapers in Sydney. Yep. So we do high end work and like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of landscaping work. Yep. So just like quality of your work, and if you care enough, like put enough effort into it. So it goes back to my training, like the discipline, and like if this is really what you want to do, you have to really care about it, because I don't want to do landscaping, and I know that. Yep. I've known that the whole time. So it's always it's shown me what I wanted to do, I guess. Yep. I guess by doing not what you want to do.
Yeah, that's true. So for you now though, like with the title under you, with the title behind you, are you turning pro anytime soon?
There was yes, like the goal was at least by the end of the year. Yep. But me and Dylan are thinking next year, and just finish out this year with a few more amateur fights, and just like get a few more belts. Okay. There was some promoters from Fight Zone at the fight. Yep. And they were like, "What do you like? We'll fight in September." And I was like, "I already agreed to the fight. Yep. To fight on it." And then they're just like, "What do you want to fight for? What belt?" I was like, "I don't know. You're the promoter."
Yeah, you tell us.
I'll just leave with my coach. I'll still. It's just a fight, even if I don't fight for a belt.
Yeah.
It's just experience.
Yeah. And then
out people.
when you go pro, are you planning to? So when are you trying to make the switch to MMA?
That would be I wouldn't say very gradual, but it'll be like I'll be a pro fighter definitely in kickboxing, Muay Thai. Mm-hmm. And if I go to kickboxing, Muay Thai, that's unreal. Yep. Like just my goal, one of the other goals was always I wanted to get paid to travel. Yep. Rather than pay to travel. So if someone would take me to Singapore and pay me like 10 grand a fight, I'd be like, fucking done. Yeah. But MMA.
Well, hey, there's a lot of Aussie fighters in one.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's great to see, because glory sort of is fading away. There's nothing really there anymore. In Muay Thai, there's no money in Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So MMA, gradually, I just got to keep doing jiu-jitsu,
Build it up,
get that blue belt.
So, well, that's one of the good things about one is that because you could do kickboxing, you can do Muay Thai, and you can do MMA.
Yeah, and you
can cover the whole gambit, right?
Yeah.
So you could actually be pretty active, provided you stay healthy. Like that's the antithesis of any fighter, the nemesis of any fighter is trying to actually stay healthy.
Snap your knees doing wrestling or bulging disc. When I hear that shit, I'm like,
yeah,
I'll just stick to jiu-jitsu, mate.
Yeah.
I'll do defensive wrestling.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of great fighters in one, and so a lot of the times I do study the fighters out of one more so than the UFC. Yeah. It's not intentional. It's just I don't know. I think I just like, for me, when I watch a fight, the study will grab me. Like that's the weird thing. Like I'll watch something and then it'll be like, oh, okay, well I'm studying that.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about ideas, isn't it? You're like,
yeah,
where did that come from?
Like I could watch a whole card and then be like, oh, there's nothing to study.
Yeah.
Right. But like
nothing that interests you.
Nothing that interests me. Right. But then I could watch, one fight and it'll be like, oh yeah, that's what I'm going to study straight away.
Yeah, the one kickboxing's unreal to watch.
Yeah.
And even the Muay Thai. They just bring the best.
Yeah. Muay Thai in foreign gloves. Like, come on, man. Like, hell yeah.
Liam Harrison fight that you had recently, the 3 knockdowns.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Did you watch that one?
Yeah, I watched that one.
Oh, God. I was just like, I want to find the smaller gloves. I don't want to rely on the defense anymore.
Yeah, it's rough. It's an adjustment, right?
Yeah. Massive.
I think, when I did my Jacob Smith versus Rod Tang film study, Jacob actually shared my film study and we messaged back and forth after, and he was like, yeah, too much long guard. Like he agreed with everything that I said, and then he was like, good insights. Made the comment, because he had to adjust to the 4-ounce gloves, didn't realize how much of a difference it would make.
Yeah. Just have no cover at all.
There's no cover, right?
Even when I'm moving into MMA sparring, I was like, oh, these shots are just landing.
Yeah.
Because there's nowhere to cover. And then I'll be like, oh shit, I got to get out of the way.
You legitimately, you have to move your hands.
Yeah.
Like you got to move and go. You can't just plant it on your head. Like, you can't just high guard and march forward because there's no padding. Like you literally got to adjust. Guard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good fun. And then obviously, as soon as you start guarding up, you get taken down. You're like, oh fuck.
Yeah. That's it.
I got to get up now.
Yeah. Changes the battleground.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of success. Like I think at the moment, if you look at, so Izzy's obviously from a kickboxing background.
Yeah.
There's a lot of high level fighters with really good kickboxing backgrounds that are making waves and coming up.
Yeah, you really got to be the best at it.
Yeah.
Because even Pereira,
he
just destroys people.
Yeah.
But he got wrestled for that first fight.
Yep.
For the whole round.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's getting better, but
that's one of the surprising things about Izzy is his takedown defense is so strong.
Yeah.
Right?
Because he's got that wider style compared to Pereira, who just like knocks you. It wants to come in and knock you out.
Oh, that last fight with Sean Strickland, and look, all respect to Sean Strickland, but I was just like, why the fuck are you fighting like that?
Yes.
That is not the way to fight.
The weird guard he was doing.
But he just kept walking forward.
I think that was the ego thing.
Yeah, whether it wasn't I'm sure he respected him, but didn't want to show any respect to him.
Yeah.
And that was just one of those fights where I was just like, if you could face palm yourself, that's a face palm moment, right? Like,
that's the one to keep your hands up. That one.
That's it.
It's funny. I was watching Pereira's highlights before my fight.
Yep.
On Saturday because I was just bored.
Yeah.
And his highlights all kickboxing. He just marched people down, knock them out. I'm gonna fucking do that. And then for 2 rounds, I couldn't figure out how close I was. How far away.
Well, Lira he kept throwing those spinning elbows up close. Like,
yeah. It was like he was waiting for me to close the distance. And then I did, unfortunately.
Yeah. How did they land cleanly? Like I couldn't see all of them, but I know.
I think one of them did because my nose has been sore for a week. Like just the bridge of the outsides.
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck you, Max!" That actually hit me pretty hard.
Yeah.
But not broken, thank God.
Yeah.
And then the only other damage is me doing damage to myself by throwing my legs up. They don't mean anything.
It's a good little change up.
Yeah.
Like the calf kicks, they work, but you got to pick your moment.
Yeah, I can't just be thrown up.
Yeah. Well, I think that that in that Daniel Williams film study where I talked about when people pivot, like because they plant the leg, that's the best time.
Yeah, as soon as they come in.
When they come in, and then if they're going to pivot out, like the leg's planted, sweep it out from under them, take it out.
Yeah, that's my problem has been so headstrong. I was always walking down someone.
Yeah,
obviously I'm walking into counter shots, but then I can't always set up my shots as best as I would like because I close the distance too much sometimes. Like I think I did a jab cross in one of them, and he just ducked, and I was like, oh, where the hell is he?
He's gone.
And then I was like, oh, fucking, and then you come back with a big overhand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's something I got to like. I don't want to be a Muay Thai fighter.
Yep.
Because they get bogged down in like kicks and clinch.
Yep.
But yeah, I think I have to be a bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
Like set up other shots rather than just a 1-2.
Yeah.
1-2.
Well, I think the first step in anything is awareness, right? So once you have that awareness about, okay, what works?
Yeah.
How do you like to use it? And so that's one of the things, like the concept I always talk about a lot in a lot of my film studies is layering, right? So it's like, everybody always knows, like, how to throw a basic shot. You can throw a jab cross. Everyone can throw a jab cross.
Yeah.
Right? But what do you layer after the jab cross?
Yeah, that's what I'm working on now.
Yeah. Right?
I watched it and I'd be like, oh, I did a jab cross and it just landed on the head.
Yeah.
But everything else was open.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't defending, he wasn't checking too many kicks.
That's it.
The body was right there. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't go to it, but
yeah, that's all right. But that's the benefit of hindsight, and that's actually how you improve.
Of course.
I have the opposite problem. I can see these things, but my mind body connection is not good enough to take advantage of a lot of them.
Yeah.
So I can see them, but I still eat shit. Like,
I think that's why at like 30 they say you're at the prime, because your mind finally caught up to your body's ability because you so much experience.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Fuck, we've covered quite a bit. I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about.
No, I never lead conversations very well.
That's all right.
It's always great to be in led conversations, so up to you.
No, you've done well. You've done well. So like with the tongue thing, that's all sorted now. Like,
yeah, there was no cancer that spread, thank God.
Yeah.
And then now it's just something I deal with. I got no taste in that left side.
Really?
When COVID happened, I had no taste for like months.
Wow.
Like
okay.
coffee, I couldn't even taste. I had COVID for 2 weeks. I think I got the Delta
variant.
Time frame.
Yeah.
Before everyone had the little Omicron one. So I lost taste, and I was like, I'm used to this. I only got half taste anyway, and then.
So can you feel that side of your tongue though?
Nah, it's like rubber, I guess you might say. It's just dead.
Yeah, wow.
It's just there. So there's no. I always used to bite it all the time, so I had to like relearn how to chew, because I didn't realize when you chew, your tongue is like constantly pushing the food to the teeth. Yeah. So I had to like learn how to chew again, and
so your tongue would just be bleeding.
yeah, I'd just be like biting that. But then I couldn't feel that I'm biting it until it goes, like it's so numb. Yeah. Like it doesn't even feel like you're squeezing something, but then it would be bleeding everywhere. Like, oh, I bit my tongue.
Does it feel weird to run that side of your tongue over your teeth?
Yeah, because my tongue, like, it caves in under, and then the other side gets all the clean. Like, so when you clean your mouth out, this side of the tongue doesn't actually do anything now. Yeah. It gets taken over like that. Yeah. It's so weird.
Yeah, that's like, because I remember when I did get numbed for fillings and things like that. If you have a nap, you'd have these weird dreams like your teeth are falling out. Yeah, because your tongue would be trying to run over the teeth or whatever,
can't feel anything.
and if you can't feel it, so it feels like you just pushed your teeth out.
Yeah, yeah, I don't have that, thank God. But yeah, so I just got this big scar on my leg, and my whole left side's actually scarred. Yeah, I've had like I cut my leg open at work with steel and. Ugh. Yeah, it's a nail in the wrist and everything. Yeah.
Do you do much in terms of recovery?
Yeah, I focus on sleep as much as possible.
Yep. You got anything to track it?
I do, but I used to get too heavy into it. I got a whoop band from my real dad. Yep. And then that helped me just realize how shit I was sleeping. Yep. And then I just focused on, don't eat so late.
Yes.
Try to actually just get to sleep earlier. Yep. And then I've just found this right rhythm where I can just fall asleep really quickly. Yep. And then I'll be up in 6 hours, 5 hours, and be fine. Yep. Even with all the extra work I'm doing. Yeah. It's So
you only sleep 5 to 6 hours a night?
Yeah. Wow. I'll be like 10 and then wake up at 5. But you fall asleep at like 11 really. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Not a big sleeper.
No?
But I can fall asleep really quickly. Yeah. Which is, I guess, just a sign of how tired I am.
Yeah. Yeah, like I feel like it's one of those things. I used to not be a big sleeper, but now it's like I feel like shit if I don't get the right amount of sleep now.
Yeah, like if I get 4 hours, it's terrible. Yeah,
but still 4 hours is a lot less sleep. Like it's not a lot of sleep. Yeah, like I think they say that 4 hours is one cycle. So in an 8 hour sleep, you do 2 cycles. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. So sometimes people wake up after 4 hours. That you can wake up after 4 hours and still go back to sleep for another 4 hours, and they call that a biphasic sleep pattern or something like that. Okay. But yeah, like I use the Aura ring.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that helped me a lot.
Yep.
Like I don't really check it as much nowadays because I sort of know what makes the difference. And it was the same thing, right? It was eating too late. Yeah. So being too full when you go to bed, that keeps your heart rate elevated. Yep. Caffeine, obviously. And I think, for me, the other thing was, like trying to be more disciplined about the time that I do go to bed. Because you can wake up at the same time every day, but what time did you actually go to bed?
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
Right?
If you go to bed, I go to bed 10 o'clock, fall asleep 10:30.
Yeah.
And then up at like 5:30. So
yeah,
I found with those like I use a Garmin now. Actually, I'm not wearing it now.
Yeah.
But that put everything together for me. It had the sleep and then the controls.
Yep.
And then I just stopped checking it. Like I'll look in the morning and I just know if you feel like shit, because you had a big day.
Yep.
You're tired anyway.
Yep.
But I found with those, I got too addicted to
checking them all the time.
It would set the tone for the day.
Yeah.
Even if, like
you'd be like, oh fuck,
yeah,
it's gonna be a shit day.
Oh, it was 64 out of 100.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't matter. Like just get on with your day.
Yeah.
But now like the same. I just wear it and I don't even check it.
Yeah.
Now I stop wearing. I'm sick of wearing the technology now because anytime I want to sleep in, it just notifies me and buzzes me.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, because like my sleeping would be like 7:30 maybe.
Yeah.
And my phone, I stop the do not disturb.
At 7:30.
Stops at 6.
Okay.
When I wake up normally.
Yeah.
So like I forget and like, shit.
I airplane my phone every night.
Oh yeah, I gotta start doing that.
Yeah.
I gotta turn it off completely.
Yeah, just airplane it. Like it's like at the end of the day, if I've got all my loved ones in the house, everything else can wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Right. So, and I think whether there's EMF or whatever Bluetooth waves and things like that, like why take the risk? Like it's probably fucking up my brain anyway. Probably doesn't help that I'm sleeping close to the router, the Wi-Fi router. But hey, at the end of the day, it is what it is. So so I think those things are good. But do you do anything like have you done any blood work before and got your levels checked?
Well, yeah, with the cancer, I had to get them checked every 2 months really.
Yep.
I was getting them checked and then it just spreads out to every 3 and now it's every 6 when you actually have to get your blood test for
CSA.
CSA, yeah.
Yep.
So my doctor just bundles it all together.
Yep.
So everything was pretty up and down. Like my CK levels were terrible. She's like, well, you're obviously a fighter, so your muscles are getting damaged constantly. You're not healing properly. I was like, oh, fucking whatever. Like it's just a constant thing of like one thing would be great, and the other thing wouldn't be great. And testosterone was up and down. Like it was so low for that first fight back in Canberra. I had no testosterone in my body.
Wow.
And so I had no energy when I was fighting, like no mindset.
You're too run down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just too early, but that made me better today.
Yeah.
I've won 3 in a row now.
Yep.
From that fight.
Yep. And then what about from a diet perspective? Like how do you eat? What do you eat?
I always eat healthy, but I eat too much.
Okay.
I think like I'll always have like meal preps done for the week. My girlfriend's an amazing cook and helps me. She's helped me so much. Like I can actually sustain myself if she's not around.
Yeah.
And cook nice food. I call it nice food. She thinks it's disgusting. But always healthy. After my fight, will just allow myself to eat what I choose not to.
Yep. Like
during the whole preparing. So like just a pizza or some lollies. I like licorice, but girlfriend doesn't like it too much. Always have my vitamins daily.
What are you taking?
A multivitamin until that runs out, and then I've got D, zinc, C, and then I'm trying Alpha Brain. I'm going to see how that goes. I've never tried it before.
Yeah.
But Joe Rogan won't talk. Shut up about
it. Yeah. I actually just I had some Alpha Brain, but it expired, so I was like, I better not take it anymore. Are you taking the tablets or are you taking the instant?
Well, it hasn't. It's tablets, but they haven't been delivered. So
okay.
I haven't tried them.
Yeah. So don't get the instant. Sorry, Joe Rogan, but the instant tastes like shit.
Really?
Yeah. Like it's like
right.
the instant. Yeah. Like because I thought because I used to buy the tablets. And then, so the tablets, you obviously can't taste anything.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'll try the instant. And then it's meant to be like some peach flavor. But it was so fucking bitter that I couldn't handle it.
Yeah. No.
So that's why I ended up throwing it out. Because, what I should have done is probably just thrown it into capsules and then.
Yeah, you could have done it yourself.
Could have done it myself, right? But
did you find it? What did you think about it?
I think so I went on this thing where I played around with a whole bunch of different diets and I've done keto, I've done carnivore, I've done intermittent fasting. Like I've tried all of them basically for different periods of time. And I think the one benefit of having gone through and doing all of these different diets for extended periods of time is that your body you realize how adaptable your body is.
Yeah, really work with whatever you give it. Really.
Yeah. And so for me, like with the nootropics or those sorts of things, like the one that I generally like to get is like lion's mane. So lion's mane mushroom is meant to be good for neurogenesis, which is great for fighters because we're always getting hit in the head.
Yeah. Okay. I should probably take that.
Yeah. So lion's mane. I'm pretty sure there's lion's mane in Alpha Brain.
Oh, okay. Right.
Just double check.
So you just have it specifically there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's a few different like I feel like mushrooms is one of those things like there's so many different types of mushrooms and you don't know what's the best or not. Yeah. There was one that I used to take, which is Paul Stamets' one, which is like it's like a multi-mushroom thing. It comes with like 11 different types of mushroom, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's probably the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, and I did notice a difference taking it. Like I thought like it was a good supplement. It's just expensive. But yeah, like I think, you know, for because I think in the studies and things like that, lion's mane is good for neurogenesis. There's another type of mushroom called turkey tail, which they because it looks like a turkey's tail.
Yeah, they got funny names for all this, don't they?
But that's one that they use, which is meant to be good for anti-cancer.
Oh, okay.
So it helps boost your immune system.
Should have
like
that one, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Well, I also think like there's some merits to like the whole fasting thing when it comes to cancers and things like that.
Yeah.
Right, like allowing your body,
cells,
autophagy. Yeah, they call it autophagy, where when you fast for an extended period of time, your body will then start to eat away the cells that aren't as good.
Yeah.
But I found that when I did like a 16-8 fasting window, I'd just be losing too much weight. I couldn't maintain muscle.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the calories just weren't coming in.
Yeah,
enough.
and like even if I like you know, drank more protein powder and tried to like maximize my meals and ate as much as I could, I still was dropping weight. Yeah, so I didn't really like it. So it was good for a while, but then at the same time, yeah, like it was easy when I was working because I was like, yeah, I don't have to worry about breakfast. Just make it till 12.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and then 12 have a massive meal.
I didn't realize that that was a thing that I would just do.
Yeah,
like you just wait till lunch and you eat lunch. But yeah, I've never fasted. Yep. Like I only fast for I don't actually even fast for weight cutting. Yeah, I still eat it like all week, but. Yeah, I've never really restricted my diet. I've always just enjoyed steaks the most.
Yep.
I could just live on steaks.
Yeah, same.
Some people used to warn me like, oh, you know, your body can't process it properly. I'm like, I feel like I can process it pretty well. Like,
your body gets used to eating it.
Yeah, steaks, chicken, fish. Like I've never really restricted myself.
Yeah. Does the gym have access to any dietitians and things like that? Like, do you have any guys that come in and talk to you guys about that sort of stuff?
Not specifically. We do have a few students that are dietitians,
yep.
but yeah, I've never really. I think Oliver Hale used the fight dietitian just for one camp, and then he sort of uses that as a guide because he just knows his body.
Yep.
But when I turn pro, I'm definitely going to hire one of those guys.
Yep.
I think it'd just be smart to just actually do a weight cut properly and
dial
see
in.
how my body reacts, because I'm just sort of following some guidelines that Oliver has.
Yep.
And it's worked fine. I've cut from I've been 84, 80, 82, and it sucks. Like you're just in the sauna.
Yep.
I'm sure it's supposed to suck.
Yeah.
Because you're cutting.
Cutting a lot of weight.
Your body, but
right?
I'm sure there's a different way that they can analyze my body.
Yeah.
So that's something I definitely do. But yeah, I've never restricted my food.
Yeah.
I've never done a diet like that.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to start looking at some of those things to dial in, because, you know, AmiComp, obviously if you're weighing in, you know, or in jiu-jitsu it's day of, but most of the times it's day before.
Yeah, 24 hours.
But yeah, like if you know, to dial in on some of those things, especially when you're pro and you have the 24-hour weigh-in, it's important to make sure you're feeling the best. Yeah,
I don't want my liver being wrecked 10 years anyway.
Yeah.
So I want to try and do it as best as possible.
I did it the stupidest way. So my first weight cut, I would have been walking at 70 and I just need to cut to 65. Oh, and I literally just, you know, sat in the sauna until I got to 65. And I did it the night before. So had shit sleep. Yeah. Fucking urine was yellow as anything. Yeah. If anything could come out. Weighed in and then started to refuel. And then I remember after that first fight, I had like such an adrenaline dump that I couldn't even open my hands. Like it was just so fucking.
Oh, after the fight?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was
just
get that
locked up during.
Yeah.
Yeah, I my weight cuts are just with the last three. I've just followed the rough guidelines of water loading. Yep. And then just get rid of all the salts and like weighing up my food. I'm like, that's all I can eat. I eat like 4 of these. I don't even think about it. This? Yeah, like 150 grams of chicken. I was like, yeah, fuck, that thing's like that big. Yeah. So that's my biggest complaint, is just how much food I realize I forget I eat. Yeah. But yeah, the weight cuts are the sauna sucks.
Yeah.
I like the sauna to recover.
Yeah. But not when you're just sitting there to drop weight.
Sitting there for hours, this is boring. It's like I put the UFC on outside the sauna, just
so you can watch it through the door.
Entertain myself. Yeah, they're tough.
Yeah.
But after I weigh in, I put like 4 or 5, 6 kilos back on.
Yeah.
Just from their protocol.
Yeah.
It's not even specific to my body.
Yeah, wow.
And
Do you know what weight you want to fight at?
Kickboxing and Muay Thai I don't really.
It's always depends on the card, really.
Like the super middleweights for the WBC, like the pro guys in Australia, they're all like 79 kilos.
Yep.
And the fight before, I weighed 79.8, and I felt like shit.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be there, but I could definitely do 79.
Yep.
It's 0.8 more of a gram.
Yeah.
Of grams. So I think I'll have to play around with low 80s, high 70s.
Yep.
But yeah, I won't fight above like 85.
Yep.
I'm just not like the light heavyweight guys coming down to
Yeah.
in terms of UFC.
Yep.
I'm not that 92 kilo guy coming down to the 84.
Yeah. Not unless you start jacking up a little bit.
Yeah. And like after cancer, actually, I'd never been 90 kilos my whole life. I've always been like 82, 84. And when I had the cancer surgery, because I came back so light, I had to have puree diet. So it was so calorie dense. I went shot up to 90 in a week,
Wow.
2 weeks. I was like, oh,
So what were you
fuck,
pureeing? Chicken?
Oh God, what was there? There's so many things like mushrooms, soups. Obviously, I could smash soups, obviously.
Yeah.
For Easter, everyone was having seafood, so my girlfriend pureed heaps of prawns for me, and I just smashed the pureed prawn.
Wow.
Everyone thinks it's disgusting, but
Might have tasted all right.
when you can't actually eat anything, you're like, this is delicious.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was pureeing anything and everything,
Yeah, wow.
but healthy food, obviously,
Yeah.
to get back to.
Yeah, well, to jump back up to 90 kilos.
Yeah, and then
you got to send me a picture of you skinny fat. This is going to be an interesting picture.
It's terrible. I can show you the video. I'm like trying to do some shoulder workout, and I've got these skinny arms, noodle arms, like back in high school, and I've got this little gut and no chest.
Yeah.
I just look at it in disgust. I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's more fuel to the fire too, right?
Yeah,
You look at the adversity that you went through.
Yeah.
And then go, fuck, if I can go through that.
Yeah.
And be in that state, like the fight's nothing.
Yeah, I've got good before and after photos of like the same sort of shot.
Yep.
I was in the mirror, and obviously I'm just taking a photo of like my fat face and gut, and then a year later I've like shredded. And I'm like, nice.
Yeah, that's the way you want to look.
Try to stay like that. But yeah, now I'm like 80. I walk around at 87 to 90.
Yep.
It depends how much I eat for dinner. I'll go to bed at 90 sometimes. I'm like, oh, you fat shit.
Yeah, it does fluctuate a lot.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think we've already clocked a couple of hours. So
Oh, lovely.
yeah,
It goes quick.
yeah, it does go very quick. Yeah, unless there's anything you want to talk about. How do people find you if they want to find you?
Oh, just on Instagram, it's Tully Brown.
That's TULKO
Yeah.
BROWN. Yeah.
And then Facebook's, you don't want to be on Facebook. I got nothing important on there.
Yeah, no, that's all right. And yeah, so you booked in September, or not sure yet?
My mindset is booked.
Yeah.
Whether or not there's a fight yet.
Okay, so they haven't matched yet.
Yeah, I got to figure out what's wrong with my foot first.
Yep.
But I was definitely fighting that card.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's been great.
Oh, lovely. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, everyone.